It's time for MacBreak Weekly. Alex, Andy, Rene, they're all here. A judge has ordered Apple to allow external payment options. We'll get in a little battle over that. Apple's sticking taxpayers with the costs for their digital ID cards. What's wrong with that? And the legacy contact feature that will allow your family access to your stuff after you're gone. All that and more coming up next on MacBreak Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is MacBreak Weekly, episode 792, recorded Tuesday, November 16th, 2021. Smitten by Hot Wax. This episode of MacBreak Weekly is brought to you by BlockFi. BlockFi's Bitcoin Rewards Card lets you earn an unlimited 1.5% back in Bitcoin on all qualifying purchases, plus a bonus of $25 in crypto after you make your first purchase. Sign up today at blockfi.com/MacBreak. And by IT Pro TV. Start your IT career today by getting educated and certified for the big companies looking for IT professionals right now. Visit itpro.tv/MacBreak for an additional 30% off all consumer subscriptions for the lifetime of your active subscription when you use the code MacBreak30 at checkout. And by userway.org. Userway ensures your website is accessible, ADA compliant, and helps your business avoid accessibility-related lawsuits. The perfect way to showcase your brand's commitment to millions of people with disabilities. It's not only the right thing to do, it's also the law. Go to userway.org/twit for 30% off Userway's AI-powered accessibility solution. It's time for MacBreak Weekly, the show where we cover the latest news from Apple. Here joining us, not from space, but from Montreal, Rene Ritchie, YouTube star. Hello, Rene.
We're getting snow, Leo. It's begun. The winter has come.
Is this
the wall is
now? You guys have already had your Thanksgiving. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No. Usually we get snow way earlier. Like I remember always being snowed in for Halloween. But thank you guys for heating up the earth so that now we're a balmy November winter people.
Yeah, that's good. See, it's getting more desirable to live in Montreal. Also, Andy Inako from the great New England. Hello, Andrew. Inako.com.
It's not snowing. It's crisp.
It's a fall. I like fall weather, actually.
Yes,
nice.
Exactly. It's that wonderful 3-week transition period where you get to sleep on top of one comforter and under another comforter in the bed, and you never want to get out of bed ever. And it's not so cold that you either turn up the heat to 93 or just sit there all day and suffer. So this is 3 weeks. I'm really enjoying
That's why
it.
they invented bacon. Get us out of bed.
Oh yeah, no. This is why they invented the electric tea kettle that you can actually keep on the nightstand, so that all I can do is like some sort of viceroy or some sort of feudal lord. Just I'll reach out one hand, flick on the switch, then 2 minutes later pour myself tea, and again I'm just a very very fancy young lord.
Also here, Alex Lindsay from officehours.global and 090.media. Hello, Alex.
It's not snowing here. Not snowing here.
Glad to hear
it. We had the most amazing clouds this morning. It was great.
I know it's fall because my Animal Crossing tree leaves have turned brown. So that's a
I got red. One of mine's turned red. I have one tree that's red.
Are your
it's
turnips
it's time.
fetching
My turnips are fetching a very high price. Alex clearly is no fan of Animal Crossing. It's a game, Alex. It's you just wouldn't understand. By the way,
is it like Kingdom Rush? No, it's not.
No,
that's the only one I know.
There's
that's
no
the
tower defense involved at all.
That's all I play.
Reverb Mike, who is our antiquarian quote expert, says this is also the day that Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge. So there you go.
I'm hoping that the day that Felix Unger was asked to leave his apartment on November 13th, I'm actually now marking that as a national thing.
Special day.
Somebody tweeted that out because the long form introduction to the to the Odd Couple said on November 13th.
Oh my God!
When they had on November 13th, Felix Unger was asked to leave his home that request came from his wife. I'm like, you know what? I don't know how to mark that, but I'm going to mark that every year now.
Actually, yesterday was a fairly important but unmarked anniversary. It was the 50th anniversary of the creation of the 4004 microprocessor. And that actually was pretty important because that was really the first microprocessor. Intel did it. Look at that. I think it has an actual wood finish.
8 million nanometer, 8 million nanometer process.
8 million nanometer.
Well, when you smell cedar, you know that you've got an overheating problem. It was a safety
Looks like
feature.
a beetle, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It has a certain.
It looks like it looks like a little ice cream sandwich on top of a chip.
50th anniversary is a big one. This was the chip that Intel didn't even want to do, I think, but it has. Get ready for this. How many transistors in the M1 Pro or M1
Like
Max?
11 billion or something.
No, I think it's like
30
57 billion. It's some
Yeah,
huge
56
number.
billion. Yeah.
Yeah. There were 2,300 transistors in the 4004. They made it.
Punch them out with a pencil, each one separately.
Practically. They made it for a calculator. It was the Nippon Calculating Machine Company asked them to design it in 1969 for a printing calculator. And instead of designing at the time they did special purpose chips, calculator chips, they said, well, what if we did a general purpose chip that you could have a program that would turn it into a calculator? That was the 4004 and really began a transformation of technology.
Yeah, the history is not just about innovation, but about making that stuff available to people who could then do really wonderful and inventive things with it. The 6502 was incredibly important, chiefly because now an engineer like Woz could just buy it.
It was off the
buy
shelf.
this one CPU,
cheap.
and then instead of having to do TTL logic for everything, and that's what caused that explosion. So it's really, really very, very cool.
The clock speed of the 4004 was 750 kilohertz. It could do 92,000 operations a second, comparing that to the M1 Max, which does 10.4 trillion floating point operations.
You could watch the electrons move through the circuit.
Yeah, exactly.
According to the journal, and I'm going to trust their math because, they're wonks, that's a billion-fold increase in computer power in 50 years.
Yeah.
Take that more.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And my favorite piece of technology connections sort of explanation is that this all goes back to the printing press. This is all about how fine a line can you print on an object, and that has been the constraint in the development of microprocessors. That from a very, very simple process to now we need a way to make a line on a piece of thing about twice as wide as an electron. We're hoping to get it down to 1.23 times as wide as an electron, and that's to get more and more transistors onto a practical amount of surface.
So happy birthday to basically the microprocessor industry and Intel. 50 years is a long time. Time to retire, Intel. You can sit back, relax.
It's a good time to be like the British Empire around 1968, 9. Just sit back, think about, there was a time when we ruled everything, where we were just the most important factor in the entire world, and let's watch another dancing people in clean suit video from 1993. Remember when Apple was grateful for our business? Yeah. Remember when Apple says, "Thank God, Intel, you're saving us from Motorola."
Just watch your stories.
Well, I wonder if I could find an Intel ad from the early 70s. That would be kind of cool. I don't think.
What are you gonna do? Design your own CPU? As if.
Here's the. Here's all the Intel commercials from the past to the present. It's only 26 minutes, so it's not going to take that long. I'm curious what
Does that include the bunny suit?
You see computers.
i486SX PC.
Ooh, Sun Spark Station, isn't it?
Oh, it's a 46. This can't be the first one. They must go back farther.
Something to make it easy for you to
Must be a
turn it into an
386.
even faster PC.
The 46,
8086.
notorious, of course, for its floating point
It's a
error
space for an
that
upgrade
caused
processor.
miscalculations
Intel
all over the place. Oh, there's the vacancy
So,
for that
for
Intel
built-in
chip.
upgradability,
Oh, that's right. You could add a floating point processor.
Right.
The computer inside.
The SX. You could add
The funny drama about not this one, but the newer ones was that the Intel, when it goes do 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 do, and it showed the animation of the chip, that it was rendered on a Mac.
Of course it was.
Electric image.
You're no fool. This is the
Well, Intel was so successful they could actually afford Macs back then.
this is the Intel jingle in 1970s. Not quite as exciting.
They didn't have the money. They didn't have the money. Like, do we have an instrument? Don't we have some interns around here that can just go?
Just get a few people in here going bum 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 bum.
Our thanks to the Dedham High School Senior Chorale for our startup noise.
All right. I guess we should do some Apple. And there really is no Intel in Apple. Is there any Intel in Apple at all? I mean, I know we don't have they don't have any
the
CPUs.
The iMac, the 27-inch iMac and the Mac Pro.
That's
still
it.
all Intel inside.
And there's no
and the Mac Mini.
Intel modem chips in the new Apple Silicon
No,
stuff.
there's all Qualcomm.
It's all Qualcomm.
And Apple bought the Intel business. Oh, and Qualcomm today, actually, they did their big investor day. And there was a little bit of rumbling because Qualcomm said in 2023, their profits are going to go down because Apple will no longer be using they'll only be using like 40% of their modems or something.
Oh,
They're using Apple modems by then.
Yeah, Apple famously tried to use the Intel modems for a while. And they were so bad, they had to slow down the Qualcomm modems so they wouldn't look too fast.
Yeah. When the user base is trading stuff on message boards and blogs, saying here are the serial number prefixes that would indicate that the iPhone you're about to pick up from the Apple Store has the Intel modem chip as opposed to the Qualcomm chip. That's bad PR.
We had talked last week about a weird memory leak that people were reporting in Monterey, macOS 11. What is it? 11.1? What is it? What is Monterey? 13 now?
No, 12. 12? Is it 12 point something? I think
so
now?
Confusing. Anyway, 12.0.1.
12.0.1,
You're right, yeah. macOS Monterey. Do we call it macOS 12 now? Just macOS.
Apple frowns on that. They just want the Monterey. The numbers are all hidden. People don't like numbers. It scares them.
We don't know what it is. So the memory leak, according to the Eclectic Light Company, has been discovered. You won't believe this. And by the way, I had the memory leak, and I was doing this. So maybe I actually stopped using Firefox because it was using so much memory on my M1 Pro. Started using Safari again. The cause has been isolated to a setting in the accessibility preference pane. If you change your pointer size or you use the brand new custom outline and fill colors, there is apparently a memory leak in the pointer. The leak appears to occur when the pointer type changes from, for instance, the standard arrow to an I-beam for the insertion of text. Apparently the memory used by the previous pointer isn't freed if you're using a custom pointer. Every app with an interface in which the pointer can change type will leak until this bug is fixed in Monterey. The fix, which
mail and notes that people have been complaining about, and those are those switch for the text insertion.
Yes, anything with a text field, right?
Yeah.
The fix is to go into the accessibility settings, click the pointer tab, and turn everything off. Set it back to normal, which I did. And sadly, because
What had you changed it to, Leo?
A big pointer.
Just out of curiosity. Oh, okay.
I don't really need it because I switched it back and it's fine, but. Especially on the laptop, but I just got used to it, and I think it was because on my big iMac Pro, I would lose the pointer regularly. I had 3 screens, so the pointer could be here, it could be there, it could be there.
Did you shake it? Because it gets huge when you shake it.
I turned on the shake feature, but I just thought, I'm going to make the pointer big. And in fact, I complained for a while that I couldn't, and then somebody said, "You idiot! It's inaccessibility." Oh, duh. So I made the pointer big, and then I just got used to doing that every time, and now I guess I won't.
Apple could fix it. I mean,
yeah. It absolutely did see this happening. Firefox was a particular problem. So much so that you might even see that your Mac has run out of application memory error, which I did see on my brand new M1 Pro. So anyway, there you go. Thank you to the Eclectic Light Company. And they seem to have solved that. And now it's on Apple to fix it. And that's our entire show for the day because I got nothing.
Thanks, everybody.
Everybody. It is the typical very, very slow period between Apple product releases. Apple.
Well, somebody's got to be mad about something, Leo. I mean, this is the internet.
Yeah. Well, Apple's probably mad about Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers because she has said to Apple, no. Apple and Apple attorneys tried to get an injunctive relief on the judge's order that they add that link into apps that allows you, as let's say Amazon and the Kindle app, to say, just click the link to buy you'll take you to Safari.
How hard it is to say that links are okay? Like to take the word no out of a text block?
Apparently,
Do you know how difficult it is?
Here's what Apple
scratch
attorney
out
Mark
that word?
Perry said. This will be the first time Apple has ever allowed live links in an app for digital content. It's going to take months to figure out the engineering, economic, business, and other issues. It's exceedingly complicated. There have to be guardrails and guidelines to protect children.
They're just two hippies in a garage. Please.
To protect developers, to protect consumers, to protect Apple. And they have to be written into guidelines that can be explained and enforced and applied. Judge Gonzalez Rogers said, yeah, no.
She said she could do it. She could do it in a cave with scraps. The thing that was really interesting about this, though, and I think Apple had to know this going in, is that it's very unusual for a judge to overturn her own ruling, like to stay her own decision, because she's the one that made it.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that they got her to confirm that it was links, because there was a lot of some people were debating whether it was like meta links, buttons, other in-app purchases, and in this clarification, she very clearly she very clearly states that it's not for in-app. Apple still has complete control over in-app purchases, but they have to allow these external links. So I half wonder if like Apple knew they were going to lose this, they'll fight that on appeal, but they really wanted that language clarified so that people wouldn't be debating it anymore.
Could have just been a little jujitsu, in other words.
You have to make that request. You have to make that request of the you have to make that request of the judge before you appeal it. So they can't just jump to the Ninth Circuit. So that's what they're going to do next, and then they'll go to the Supreme Court and see if they get heard.
It does plan
still a couple jumps for them to go.
But
they had to do this. They knew that they were.
The judge first of all said Apple wanted an open-ended stay with no requirement that it make any effort to comply. Apple has provided no credible reason for the court to believe the injunction would cause the professed devastation. She also said, look, they asked for an indefinite stay instead of just more time. And she said,
terrifying, Leo.
She said, you haven't asked for an additional time. You've asked for an injunction, which would effectively take years. I think this is the real reason. All subtlety aside, you asked for an across-the-board stay, which could take 3, 4, or 5 years. Apple says, we're confident we're going to win the appeal, so let's just wait until the appeal's over before you enforce this. And she said, no, we're going to enforce it. December 9th, Apple will have to start putting links, allow it. They don't have to do it. By the way, as you said, Rene, they don't have to do anything.
They have to stop rejecting you if you put them in.
They just have to take the word no out.
This is embarrassing. This is just embarrassing. This should come into fore whenever we're thinking about how they're reacting to complaints about how strong the barrier of we just don't want to do this thing and we feel as though that is sufficient grounds for not doing it. Like, no, you've been told. It's like, ugh.
Apple spokesperson said Apple believes no additional business changes should be required until all appeals in this case are resolved, which of course
it's not a business change, you dopes.
Because they're going to lose. I mean, Apple's going to win, and so they don't want to bother to make this move because it's not going to make it through. Like it's a very weak case. And so the thing is that it will the effect that it does have on users is going to be that all these companies are going to want to kind of press down on really forcing us to go somewhere else other than buy it in the App Store. Okay. Here's the deal: 1 star. 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. If I see this anywhere, 1 star, I'm going to tweet it.
Okay.
The thing is look, I know you guys don't think so, but I got a lot of response from that last time. And what people should do is follow me on Twitter, 1 star, because because the thing is you don't need to have millions of people be upset. You need hundreds of people that are really focused. And the thing is that what you can count on if you're a developer is 1 star if I see this in there. I think that the courts can do whatever they want, but we as users need to defend our ability to have the environment that we want. If you don't agree on that, that's fine. But if you do agree on it, follow me on Twitter and we'll organize ourselves.
May I introduce a new argument that I haven't said before? This I won't. My reaction to this, I'm well on record, so we're not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into that again. However, the fact that this could work also indicates another problem with the App Store that Apple needs to fix, which is my problem with 1-star reviews everywhere is that I'll use my personal experience with one of my books. I had a perfect something like 80, 90 reviews, all of which were like 5 stars or 4.5 or whatever. And one person gave me a 1-star review. And well, what was his problem with it? Well, I thought it was going to explain how to use my iPhone, but it only does like what the book title says and what the description says it does. And I had to like sort of, I wasn't engaging with him. I was trying to like talk to him, saying, so you're saying that this 200 and some page book, if you got it and every page said, hey George, you're an idiot, I just stole $20 from you, it would still had gotten 1 star because that's the lowest possible rating. So when you have like activists who try to use the rating system from one point of view, create change that is necessary, from another point of view, trying to bully and cajole and abuse the system to harass a creator for doing something they don't like, that shouldn't basically tank the entire thing. A 1-star review of this app means that this doesn't work. It's a rip off of money. It steals my data. It makes fun of my dog. And well, again, that's what I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying that a 1-star review needs to be remediated.
All it means is, unless I'm completely misunderstanding this, that Amazon can in the Kindle app say, if you'd like to buy a book, click this link. And that takes
but that's not what it's going to happen. This is the beginning.
Well, something else may happen. I guess we should wait.
Yeah.
Dogs and cats.
Let's stop this. Hold on. I do want to ask you, Alex, why you're so certain that this will be overturned on appeal.
Because it's a big overreach to tell someone how to change their business model. And while it may make it through appeals, it will not make it through the current Supreme Court. It will just get shut down. Like it's not, no way.
That's it.
So the thing is that
I don't know what the legal basis is for it. We should have a bet. Maybe I'll bet you a case of apple cider donuts or something. But we won't know for 5 years. And
have to be an Apple bet.
Don't buy them now. Don't buy them now, Leo. I want them. I want them
stale
fresh.
apple cider
I want them fresh.
Moldy apple
Don't
cider.
buy them now.
And they're all yours.
The thing is that it'll by the time it wouldn't matter, because by the time it got done, Apple would have a different business model. I mean,
that's
the thing
exactly
is that,
why they wanted to stay. Of course.
But the issue is that we as when you see something coming in that's a problem, it's a lot easier to handle it when it's small. And so as users, we have to know.
So what's the worst case scenario? What do you think is really going to be terrible about this?
Look, I deal with it all the time. It's the I want you to log into my account. I go up to Apple TV. I just want to buy the thing on Apple TV, but no, I have to fill out my name and
I hate that.
I hate that, and that's what they're all going to become. Like that's what's going to happen. Now you have to go somewhere else and sign up.
Hold on. Isn't it that way right now? So if I want to buy a book on my Kindle app, and I have to know, and Apple won't let you. Amazon.
But I'm not talking about Kindle. I'm talking about like HBO Max or whatever. You know, they're already dealing with. We're already dealing with that in the TV store, and it'll just get worse. It'll be everything like that.
You're saying, and by the way, I think Apple can still offer. I don't think Apple's enjoined from saying you can click this link or you can buy it here through Apple Pay.
The slippery slope is going to be that people are, as users, we're going to get pushed harder and harder and harder out of the App Store, and so whether it's side loading or whether it's just
where the Apple pay with Apple button goes and all of that stuff.
But I'm just saying that this
right now what Amazon does on the Kindle app is just say that they're not allowed to say anything. You can't buy a book. You can only read a book, and then you have to be smart enough to go, oh yeah, I got to buy it on Amazon, which you can do on your iPhone, by the way. You can just do it in the Safari.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. So the
it is a big deal. It'd be nice to be able to have that link so I could do it directly.
Doesn't affect me at all. So I
actually don't.
I buy lots of Kindle ones.
I have HBO Max. You're saying now HBO Max is going to say if you want to buy it, click this link.
It's the beginning of this, but any area of this is going to be us as users constantly having to deal with developers doing everything they can to keep us from using the App Store to order this thing, and that's how this is. Mark my words. I think if this goes through, this is how this is going to happen. And so we as users are going to be affected by it, and we paid for this infrastructure, not the developers and not Apple. We paid for it. So as users, this is not a defense of Apple. This is a defense of the users who spent trillions of dollars on this platform, having the experience that they paid for. So we paid for that experience, and we expect that experience experience that we've invested in over the last decade. And I don't care about Apple, and I don't care about the developers in this case. What I care about is me as a user, or we as users, having the experience that we expected when we paid it. It's like going into buying a house and now having them say, well, no, we're going to take this door away from you. Like the thing is that we want that door. There's a lot of us that want that door. And if we want to defend it, the time to get rid of the settlers is when they show up. So the thing is that not when they've built in, let's see how they go for the next 10 years. The thing is that the time to stop this is right now. And if we as users, if the courts can't defend us, if Congress isn't going to defend us, we need to defend ourselves. And the only tool that we have is one star. And so the thing is that if we had other tools, to Andy's point, if I had other tools, or if other people allowed this to just sort itself out in the courts, we would never do anything like this. But the only tool that we have to show that we're upset is one star. And we should be basically making sure that the first developers that land on the beach don't make it to the forest.
Okay. Disagree 100%, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
Let's take a little break. We'll have more in just a bit. Alex Lindsay, Andy Anako, Rene Ritchie. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. We'll talk in a year. Let's give them a year to screw
I'd say
this
2
up.
or 3 years.
2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years.
Oh yeah, in 2 or 3 years though, it's going to be it's going to be chaos, and a lot of people would like it to be chaos like every other platform. But we have this nice little platform that we'll never get back. You'll never be able to build this again. This is not something that gets built again, and we have people that want to tear it apart. And for users, you just have to know that it's not going to. We won't get to put it back together. Humpty Dumpty is not going to get put back together if we get torn apart. And so we need to, if we lose it, it's our own fault. Like as users, if we don't do what we need to do to make sure that we manage it, then it's our own fault, because the users definitely have the power to drive the first ones into the ground, and that's what we need to do.
Well, I think it's reasonable if it does give you a terrible experience to give it 1 star.
Mm-hmm.
Just if Amazon puts a link to the Amazon store to buy a book, I think I might give that a higher rating. That's an improvement.
And then the epic thing will be to save 30% on your V coins.
Exactly.
Click this link instead of the
It'll be all this. Yeah, it'll just be this constant like.
No, I think they're good nor bad. I mean, like that. Some people would love. Some people. The thing is, I like the idea of the competition. I like the idea that Apple should be forced to compete on convenience, security, privacy, everything in one place. I can subscribe, unsubscribe from every account, all in the same. There's a compelling argument to be made that they can win it on the merits, and then the developers will go through and say,
"There's 2 ways for Apple to win this." There's 2 ways to Apple. Go ahead.
All right. No, I know you're super excited. I just wanted to add that last point in there that they'll go in and they'll say like, you can save. We'll give you 15% back. We'll give you 30% back on this. We'll give you this. And then if you're willing to save that money and you're willing to create that secondary, like you're willing to create an Epic account to store all your coins and stuff in the Epic account or the Pokemon Go account or the HBO account or all of that, there will be people who will choose the savings over the convenience, and there'll be people like me, because I lose track of my finances so quickly and so always, who want to have everything in one place. And at least it'll force a little bit of, I think, improvement on both sides there.
And I have to say, it doesn't ruin the Mac, by the way. It doesn't ruin Android, so I'm not convinced it's going to ruin iOS.
I use the App Store on the Mac for convenience. Yeah. Like I just go there, I press the button, it installs everything for me.
Yeah, and people who like that will continue to do that. We'll be able to. I presume we'll be able to continue to do that. Yeah. I guess that's the question. Will Epic say you can't buy it in any other way but
they can't not? I don't think they're allowed not to offer IAP.
Yeah, I think all Apple has to do is allow them to put the link there, but
what they'll do is they'll raise prices and then they'll add the 30% on top. That's what they want to do. And so the thing is that and the way Apple will most likely handle this is there are 2 possible ways for Apple to handle this. Is a new developer status. So special, like a developer 2 or pro developer or something like that. That basically you agree to not do that. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want. But here are special. These are the new libraries only are available to the higher level developers. There's a whole bunch of things that you could do that Apple could do to incentivize the developers that, and also like, once you become a parasite, which is basically if you do that, Apple doesn't have any reason to, give you the time of day. So that there's a whole lot of Apple could spend all of its resources on supporting the developers in the other one, which will be be clear. Like if Apple created this other one that you agree to this and you pay another $50 a year or whatever to distinguish it,
Premium App Store?
99% would sign up for that other one, and there'd be 1% that Apple just doesn't have to pay attention to anymore. And so and then the other way for Apple to handle it is basically Apple Arcade, except for everything. That would be the other way for them to sort that out. Mm-hmm. Which would, then developers will really wish they hadn't done that.
Yeah. Just make sure that as we're having this discussion, we factor in the fact that one of the many things discovered during the Epic lawsuit was that 70% of all app sales are coming from games and in-app purchases through games. So
sure,
just make sure that as we're having this discussion, we're not talking about the entire app market. We're talking, okay. I'm sorry,
but 99% would sign up for, hey, I won't take that direct piece. 99% of developers would do that.
Okay,
probably 99.9.
I'm
pretty sure.
It's really impossible.
I think you're 100% wrong, but I'm not going to argue.
Prove or disprove.
But we'll find out.
Predictions.
Okay.
Only time will tell. Our show today brought to you by BlockFi. Whether you're a crypto pro or a total beginner, I know everybody's kind of got their radar going around Bitcoin. Here's a really easy way to earn Bitcoin at no cost to you. The Bitcoin Rewards credit card from BlockFi. Not only is it cool, it's a cool looking black card, unlimited Bitcoin on every qualifying purchase you make. And by the way, it is about as good a credit card as you get. It's a Visa signature card. So literally there's no annual fee. It costs you nothing. There's no foreign transaction fees. We used it in Mexico because of that. And every time Lisa bought something, she's doing a little Bitcoin dance. Grow your Bitcoin portfolio. When you buy your groceries, pay your bills, fill up at the gas station, just make everyday purchases, and your BlockFi Rewards Visa signature card is the easiest way to get Bitcoin. 1.5% back in Bitcoin on all qualifying purchases. No reward limits. Now's the time. If you're at all interested in getting a little bit of Bitcoin in your life. Bitcoin, of course, I don't want to start selling you on the value of Bitcoin, but it did see a fairly hefty return in 2020. I think it was 230%. The best performing asset of the last decade, according to Yahoo Finance, outperforming the NASDAQ 100 by an order of magnitude. And BlockFi is well known because they're a leader in crypto. They were named to Forbes FinTech 50 list in 2021. So it's easy. You can trade your Bitcoin for other kinds of cryptocurrencies right there. It's the easiest place to buy, sell, and earn crypto. So a great way, if you're interested in getting into the crypto world, the crypto scene, go to blockfi.com/MacBreak. By the way, if you do that right now, you'll get a bonus of $25 in crypto after you make your first purchase with a credit card. BlockFi.com/MacBreak, $25 bonus in crypto deposited right in your account after your first purchase. But you have to use that address, BlockFi.com/MacBreak, BLOCKFI.com/MacBreak. Start earning Bitcoin back on all your qualifying purchases today with that nice looking card. That's Lisa's black card. BlockFi.com/MacBreak. Terms and conditions, not all will be eligible. Geographic, regulatory, and underwriting restrictions apply. Fees and terms subject to change. Additional terms of service at BlockFi.com. BlockFi is a financial technology company. Banking services provided by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC. BlockFi.com/MacBreak. Apple did get dinged and finally has decided to settle. For some time, they ended this practice in 2013. They were searching Apple Store employees as they left work, but not paying them. They said, clock out first, and then we're going to go through your bags and so forth.
And check your serial number on your iPhone, too.
Did they really? So this could take as long as half an hour, 45 minutes. So
well, you didn't have to bring your iPhone with you, Leo. You could choose to not have a phone with you if you wanted to skip that line.
Yeah.
8 years this thing's been in court. This is why the court just takes forever. But Apple has settled $29.9 million. A lot of times in these class action suits, you figure, well, I guess they're going to get an Apple gift certificate,
gift card,
20 cents or something. No, they actually the suit included 14,683 workers. Each of them will get $1,286. So good.
Well, the lawyers take 40%, right?
Yeah, so maybe they would have gotten more, but still, they're still getting decent.
And also the win is that this is way on people's radar, and maybe Apple will not do this anymore. They
stopped in 2013, ironically.
Yeah. And this isn't unique to Apple. This is just a real standard labor abuse practice, and it's embarrassing that Apple did that even back in the early 2010s. And it's only right that these people not just get a handshake and a sorry, but we're going to return some of the money that you lost because of our anti-labor policy. So
actually, I take it back. The lawsuit was in 2013. They stopped doing this in 2015, December 2015. So they haven't done that in some time. I also think, and maybe some of this lawsuit came from the fact that employees were kind of, really, you don't trust me? You think I'm just going to be taking stuff out of the store?
Well, no, it's not. That's not. It really is about. So you stop paying me, but I'm not allowed to leave the workplace. Right. That means that if I'm on the clock as an Apple employee,
it's against California law, so that's why they lost. Actually, they didn't lose. No, I think Apple settled.
And I think that it's good that this happened. And this is why court case, these kinds of suits exist, is to press down on things that don't make sense. And so I think it totally makes sense to do it. I think that Apple's attempt was to affect behavior, which is don't bring so much stuff. So
maybe that was it. Yeah, maybe that was it.
No, it is. It is. It's absolutely why they did that. When they do these checks on the way in and out, what they don't want you to do is bring bags. They just want you to, because I had some friends at the time that were talking about it, and they said, well, I just don't take anything to the app store. I mean, when I go to work, I just have my phone and it's in my pocket, and I don't bother with anything else, and it doesn't take me any time at all. And so that was the idea, was this kind of a passive aggressive, get everybody to just bring less things in so they don't have to think about it. But it just didn't work. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of equipment. So, I mean, I understand the reason that you have to check people, but you just should pay them on the way out.
We shouldn't have to provide lockers for employees who keep bringing their clothes to work. We got to stop this. Apple surprised me with a press release on November 10th. So is that a little less than a week ago? It was the day after MacBreak Weekly. They introduced Apple Business Essentials. Now, it's not out. You can do it in beta. It's not going to be officially available until next year, but it's a business plan.
This is much needed. Much
is
needed.
It?
I mean, Apple has been so far behind in
Microsoft
this area.
offers stuff like this, of course.
100%.
One complete subscription brings together device management, 24/7 support, and cloud storage. And you pay. Let me go down to the fees because it seems fairly reasonable. If you're already an Apple house, $299 per device per month. That includes 50 gigs of iCloud. $699 per user per month gives you 3 devices and 200 gigs of storage per user. $12.99 per user per month. Give your power users a multi-device plan up to 3 devices and 2 terabytes per user of storage.
Totally makes sense. Like it totally makes sense. And I don't think it really affects companies like Jamf as much, because Jamf is a lot more value add. They're the ones they're kind of the market leader in managing this for you from Apple's, for if you have an Apple platform.
Yeah, so that was my concern, is that Jamf, this would really harm Jamf. You don't think so?
No, it does take. I think that the issue is that we used to do this all the time when we were doing Hangouts, was that we loved training new people on Hangouts, because they would start doing their own little events. And same thing with Zoom. They start doing their own little events, and then they start getting really good at it, and then they immediately hit the glass ceiling. And then they go, hey, can you help us make something more complicated? And that's what we wanted to live in. And so in the same way, I think that Jamf is in a situation where they, this is going to create a lot more people thinking about managing their fleet in a way that they haven't in the past. And then they're going to hit a wall. This is a great, for small businesses and for people getting started and everything else, this is a really, really great solution. And it's going to get a lot of people who weren't doing it to think about the next step after they get to that. And I think that's where it really sets Jamf up for success. I bet you Jamf will do better in this environment.
You're exactly right, because that's what Jamf's CEO, Dean Hager, said. He said, we welcome the opportunity. we believe this expected announcement is good news and presents Jamf with a terrific opportunity. We
compare and contrast that to Intel's response to Apple entering the silicon market, just to see how comfortable each of those CEOs feel.
That little you mean that little lifestyle company in Cupertino? You mean that one? Yeah. I mean, and I'm a small business, so I understand a lot of small and medium-sized businesses don't have IT departments. They outsource their IT to managed service providers and the like. And I think getting it from the company whether it's Microsoft with its business offerings or Google for some. I think, I don't know what we do. I think Russell just does it all on his own. Or from Apple, makes a lot of sense. Put it all together.
Yeah.
I think that what I go ahead, Andy.
I'm just saying that it's amazing that after so many years, there are always going to be these little gaps that any company has been aware of but has yet to fill in serving their customers. And at some point, either the pain point of knowing how much money they're leaving on the table by not helping and assisting these types of users, or the pain of actually introducing these features gets so low, that's when you start to do things that come down to the line of, wow, why didn't they do this before? But these things that have become these features that have become table stakes for teams, I'm glad that Apple is now making sure that they can support that directly, rather than saying, well, good luck with that.
Is this a change in strategy from Apple? They've kind of ignored business, right? They've always thought education was important, creatives and professionals were important, but they've
let other people run it. You know, they've just let other people manage that, whether it's Salesforce or Jamf or other folks that like put your stuff on it and they kind of stay out of the way. It's just that kind of lower cost, easy turnkey solution doesn't really exist. You know, and so I think that's where I think that they're kind of putting. I don't think they're going to try to do what Jamf does. I think they're going to try to make it just easy for people who need that. What I'm really interested to see is whether they go deeper into education. Education is going to be a big opportunity next year, and Apple, you know, when things get disrupted, and education is going through a huge disruption and will be much worse next year, it usually creates opportunity to move the market around a little bit. And Apple's key weakness is fleet management within schools, and so hopefully they'll take what they're doing here and expand.
So
absolutely,
explain to me. So I understand iCloud. But what is but the most important part of this is not that, it's the management. It's MDM,
right. Mobile device management.
Will Apple offer, do you think, Rene, special software to do this? Jamf does, right? Jamf gives you a console.
I think what Apple's looking at, and like they've been building towards this slowly. They've been making purchases and they've been expanding what their enterprise team does over the last couple of years. And I think what they see as their current sweet spot is the small business, which is like way under Jamf's radar, way under Salesforce's radar. And I don't want to use the term prosumer because I think that's really used for something else, but it really is sort of like really consumer-friendly business things. Because one of the things Apple does, for example, is that they ensure that what is on your device is on your device, and the business can't touch that. Like they have control over the business stuff, but it basically firewalls that out. Your apps are your apps. Your data is your data. If you bought your own device, the company doesn't get to just take it over and make it a business device, which some of that software does in some situations. But like who paid for it basically gets the final say in who gets to control it. So there's a lot of really interesting, innovative things there, which not all businesses may like, but which I think people who are forced to, or not forced, but feel a situation where they are the ones buying it actually maintain ownership of it. I think it's really interesting and something that I hope propagates throughout that business.
So you have a fleet of employees with iPhones, iPads, Macintosh computers. It lets you keep track of them, inventory them, onboard them, deploy apps, provision them, all of that stuff in a centralized way. That's the main use for
maintain
this.
Control over the data, delete them, recover them, everything you need to do if you're running a business with a non-trivial amount of employees.
Right. It's actually surprising Apple hasn't done this.
Yeah, particularly with the iPhone. I mean, security and privacy. It's not a trivial problem by any means to allow someone to have a business personality and a personal personality on their same personal device. But it really is the sort of thing they're going to have to crack because there are still some installations where it's like we're going to have to issue you a second phone because we can't. There's no way we can maintain, configure, and arm your phone to do the sort of business that we need a mobile app to do. So I'm sorry, you're going to have to keep two phones charged at all times. Whereas on on the Android platform, it's still not perfect. Speaking to how difficult the problem is, but at least they're making strides to giving built-in, standardized, recognizable solutions rather than hoping that third-party solutions are safe, secure, and appropriate.
Yeah, Apple's always provided the back end like MDM, but here's a picture of the front end. Which is a very Apple in its interface, and you can see that different groups have different apps, different users, different devices. You have a service and support tab. Looks pretty good, I guess. I'm not a IT guy, but I could see how you would need this. And I hope it doesn't step on Jamf's toes too much. Salesforce, fine, but I've always had a soft spot for Jamf. Jamf was like behind Apple in the early days when no one else was. So I kind of like seeing
this is different from Sherlocking, where you're saying, oh, why you've got this third party has developed what has become a beloved and useful and responsive standard. Why do you want to crush them by integrating this into the OS and giving them something substandard?
Right.
But then there's but this isn't like a calculator. This is here is core functionality that can make the whole platform better.
Do you think they'll bring back Xserve now? Is that the next step?
I wish, but no.
I want the server. I want the screeching server that I can actually have in my office and running like files.
No, seriously, Apple Silicon would be great on a server.
In an Xserve. I know people are salivating for it, Leo, but all you're getting is some side mounting rails in your Mac Pro, and you're going to be happy you got
I guess
those.
so. Okay. That's right. Make a rackable app. You don't have to call it an Xserve. Just make it rackable.
They already have that. It's called a Mac Mini. You get two of them in a rack.
Yeah, you can put two in a rack.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is the Mini 1U high? How high is it?
It's half a U.
Half
it's 1U high. And then you can get,
and then it's half a U
there's
wide.
a variety of boxes, like Sonnet makes a box that you can put a card into that is then the Mini. So it really turns it into a server at that point.
Perfect.
And so you can do that too.
Emmerich in the chat room saying Jamf doesn't give support to users directly. I presume Apple Business Essentials wouldn't either. It's really for the managed service provider, not for the end user. So this isn't any new offering for end users, Apple end users, just to be clear. All right, so there is a battle suddenly raging about Apple's ads. Suddenly.
It's like it just happened last week.
Well, they've been doing it for years, it turns out.
5 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
But it became public with an article in Forbes, Apple quietly buying ads via Google for high-value subscription apps to capture app publisher revenue. After the accusation, Apple responded, yes, we run ads for third-party apps, but we also are in communications with the developers about that. Apple told 9 to 5 Mac it has been placing those ads for third-party applications for over 5 years. The ads, and you see this in the App Store. We've all seen them. The ads are designed to simply promote the products distributed via the App Store.
Well, not just the App Store. This is the Google thing. This is buying Google's web search ads. Is what they're buying.
That's right.
Yeah. Along with like Walmart buying something about something they're trying to sell you, or Target buying something.
Yeah, Apple says, in fact, it's just like
another
retailers running advertisements for the products they sell.
Right.
We all win.
Also, it's not as though, well, we decided not to go with this tiny little market share of the digital ad market in Google. We decided to go with, no, of course you're going to do business with Google. That's where they're successful in part because they are successful at delivering value, delivering the product that people who want to advertise things want to have. So yeah,
Apple said this is not secret or quiet, according to the words used by
It's not
Forbes.
like they're buying Facebook ads.
The company says
exactly.
it regularly communicates with developers about the ads. They're clearly labeled as being from the App Store, and they are permitted under the standard Apple Developer Program Agreement. They say they're running advertisements promoting more than 100 third-party applications on networks like Google, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitter. See, we've seen the ads.
We've all seen the ads. This is a poorly researched, poorly written article, and it just continues Forbes' slow slide into the mud. Like
that's fairly accurate. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many articles they put out that are just so poorly written and so poorly.
Sometimes they actually
managed.
feel like hit pieces. Almost.
Yeah.
Well,
they're trying to be the Dan Bloomberg,
which is separate than, like, there's Forbes, which still pays people, and then they have Forbes Contributor Network, which it seems like anybody can write anything on, sort of like Medium with no rules, and then use the Forbes name, which I think is terrible for the brand.
There is some good content being done with Forbes Contributor Network, but yeah, the first, whenever I see a news item under that's saying this is according to Forbes, question one is this actually Forbes, or is this contributor? And if it's Contributor Network, it's like, okay, I don't need to read this. This is probably not going to be relevant.
This is a guy who's not on staff at Forbes, John Ketzier. Now, his title is senior contributor, but then if you hover over it, it says opinions expressed by Forbes contributors are their own. And he's
super
his
sketchy.
title is way more exciting than what you just explained, though, Leo. Like this article is way more like gotcha than the explanation. So I'm just going to read the article.
Yeah, right. Which is why it spreads like wildfire.
Yes.
Right. I mean, with both Forbes and Bloomberg, I kind of look at it sideways. I'm like, okay, we'll see what they have to say, but I'm going to have to see it in like 6 other places before I believe anything that comes out of either one of those sources.
Yeah.
It's really a light week. There's not a lot of great stuff.
Let's talk about death. That was a really cool announcement last week.
Death? They announced death?
Yeah. Apple announced that they're going to be supporting death in the upcoming release of iOS. You can finally
Sandman.
You can finally designate the current beta for iOS is going to be rolling out to iOS and Mac in the near future. You can currently designate a legacy contact so that after you die, there will just simply be a simple procedure for your loved ones to get access to your iCloud content and that kind of stuff. Whereas it used to be a very the terms of service of iCloud used to essentially say that, look, when you die, all of your data dies with you. Don't think that this is just going to be like your photos are in a drawer and your kids can just go and grab them. So they're long belated. It's been a very painful process for people who have to go through what is not an established policy, not an established procedure to say, I'm proving to you that I am this person's son. I'm proving to you this person is no longer deceased. I'm proving to you that it is okay for you to release my father's iPhoto gallery to me so that I can actually get access to all of this stuff, get access to the contacts, get access to stuff that I need to close out to deal with the financial repercussions of this estate. So now this is basically, here is what you need to do. So long as that user was able to express to Apple that I am explicitly okay with my son accessing my stuff after I die, then it'll be a much simpler procedure. Other services do a better job, I think. Google has a feature where you can be very fine grained about it, and you can even say, I don't care if it is my son. You nuke everything. I don't want anybody to see where I was traveling, what I was photographing, what I was into. But again, it's an important thing, and I'm glad that Apple's finally getting around to it.
So if you want to know more, and I guess I should do this, digital-legacy.apple.com. And you can do it both, I guess, without a key, but I think if you're still alive, for those of you still alive, and after the last conversation, maybe I understand a few of you aren't, but for those of you still with us, you can get your legacy contact access key and share it with your legacy contacts, and then they'll have an easier time. I think this is it's interesting to watch as the baby boomers age. Everybody's starting to kind of think about this. Facebook has a way to do this. A lot of social networks do.
I mean, it was when my father died, part of what made it easy was the fact that he was getting his email service through me. Right. But this was 10 years ago, before we put a lot more stuff on the internet. I don't know how difficult it would have been to try to contact an ISP, say, hi, please allow me to get access to my dad's inbox because I need those digital records of financial transactions and accounts that he actually had.
Yeah. Actually, most password managers now, I know our sponsor Bitwarden does, our former sponsor LastPass does, have a emergency access. That's kind of the same idea.
Yeah.
But I think even if I gave Lisa emergency access to my iCloud account, would that be as good as this? Should she just log in and pretend she's me?
I don't know. This is still in beta. So
I think the main thing is you don't want to necessarily let people just log in as you.
Well, there's a dead man switch. There's a dead man switch. So when you say that, they have to send an email requesting your Bitwarden password. Bitwarden sends you an email. You set how long it is before they give up. So if you said, I'm not dead yet, no, then they go, okay, never mind.
Flesh,
but I have to,
flesh wound.
Yeah, I should also say that number one, you definitely, even no matter what, how much money you make or how valuable you think that your estate is, you should definitely find the money to hire an actual lawyer to have an actual will drawn up. It will save
that's
an immense amount of trouble. But part of this is you can actually explicitly if your lawyer is hip enough, meaning employable, they will actually you will actually be able to put in a section saying I'm going to designate this person, a certain person, as the holder of my digital legacy, so that if they do have problems talking to iCloud, talking to Google, talking to Facebook, talking to whoever, they can say, well, no, this document that Andy actually signed says that he is okay with me seeing his cloud stuff after he dies, and also the rights. If you're writing stuff, if you're creating software, who gets the rights to your software, all the kind of stuff is the sort of stuff that you hate to spend like $500 or $600 or even $1,000 to a lawyer for a document that you sign when there is like an Xbox. I'm serious that for me, I often have to talk myself into doing these smart things but didn't just last week we decide that we're not going to buy a VR headset because it would be a waste of money? Now we're giving someone $1,000 and we're not getting anything back, no matter how much might hurt at that moment when you write that check or you make that payment. It will solve so many problems for the people that you're leaving behind.
Yeah, you speak to somebody with experience, money. So it's good to remind people.
We've closed down 2 parents' estates, and it's like, thank goodness that my dad was on the ball, because even the few places where there were gaps, it was like I'm in no mood and no frame of mind to have to deal with a phone tree that is not designed to make it easy for me to sign up for something, almost impossible for me to cancel something. So yeah.
So I'm not sure how complete this support is yet, because when I go to digital-legacy.apple.com, it says, learn more. I click learn more, and all I get is the Apple generic support page.
It's still in beta. It's in the developer builds, I think. So I think that's only there for the people who have the beta. Yeah. Well, I think that you configure this through preferences, through a settings pane on the iPhone right now. I think in the future you should be able to go to iCloud.com and designate it there the way that you should be able to.
Rene, you're on the latest betas. Is it in there? Is it on your phone?
I don't think so.
You have no errors, so it doesn't matter for you. It's all just going to go away. Poof.
I'm sure it is there. No, I'll have to designate either Andy or Alex or somebody.
Yeah, dibs.
But you don't get my iTunes collection. That's the only important part. What? You're not allowed to have that. So
yeah, none of the media can be handed down. But my photo,
not like physical media.
Honestly, more valuable than money, I think, maybe to your heirs might be. Well, that's not true, but almost as valuable as the money.
They can buy photos.
You would hope. Might be the photos, because those are family treasures. That's and thanks to digital photography these days, we all have lots of pictures that we should.
I have 170,000 screenshots clogging my iCloud storage. I can't wait to hand those down to.
I don't know, my kids. I think my kids would be like, "Do you mean we have to start over at TikTok all over again?" Oh no!
Well, no, it's
trained it so well.
Yeah, as it happens, like I'm trying to do my deep office cleaning where there's no nook, cranny, box, or drawer that doesn't get emptied out and investigated. And I found a flash drive from like 2006, and I happened to have dumped like a card worth of photos off of my camera onto this, and I could see that there were the two photos that at the time I was interested in, but now I'm glad that I have all the wasted photos of like my dad playing with his grandchildren.
Yeah.
Well, she's not facing the camera, and there's no story there. But no, now it's like, isn't that like I didn't notice how my dad was looking at like his grandchildren, even though the grandkid is like moving and blurry, and so that's why it's if you deliberately do not want your camera roll to be shared with people after you die, that's your prerogative. But don't overlook the idea that even just when you're testing out your new camera and you just took a random unframed photo of what your office looks like, you have no idea how your grandchildren and your relatives who haven't met you yet are going to treasure that just by saying, wow, I don't know why he liked that painting, but apparently he liked it enough that he wanted it in his office.
So the chat room is telling me that it is in system preferences. You click your name at the top, the Apple ID, and it's under password and security, and then under account recovery. I don't see it under mine. I see a bunch of ways to do account recovery, but I don't see anything specifically for survivors.
Apple wants you to be forgotten, Leo.
Apparently, at some point,
I take it personally.
If it's set up, you will actually print out a piece of paper that you will give to your heirs, and they can use that to recover your account.
Can you assign somebody from the old British TV show Coupling to go through and make every photo appropriate before your kids have to see it?
So these guys must all be Micah. You're on. You must be on the beta because I don't see it on my current. Search for Legacy in your settings, and if it's there,
I'm
you'll
do that
have
right
it.
now.
Yeah, still beta. Okay, they're confirming that. So coming soon to a device near you, and then apparently, if you use family sharing, you'll be able to choose a family member from the list, which will make it easy.
Yeah. You want to hear something hysterically funny? I didn't know about this until I was talking about this last week on at NPR, and I was preparing the story. Facebook, like Google, they also have a legacy sort of program that's kind of like that. And part of the feature is that once you've been declared dead, your page becomes sort of a memorial page where you no new content, but your friends who had access to your photos and stuff can still see your photos, and they can actually leave like a book of remembrance sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But and that's very nice. I'm saying something nice about Facebook before getting into the friendly language, saying, "Don't worry, don't worry. We also have ways of figuring out that you're dead, and if we figured out that you're dead, we'll do that for you automatically."
Facebook knows if you're dead. Believe me, he hasn't bought a mattress in years. They know. They know.
They have patents for how to monetize people after they've died. It really is quite brilliant.
I'm sure they do. There's also websites, to help with this from an earlier age. This is, as more and more of us age and kick the bucket, this is going to become more and more of an issue. I'm glad, Andy, you've already been there. It's good to get your reinforcement. My mom and dad are still alive, but hanging by a thread. So I better get over to them. Actually, I went over to my dad's the other day, and he's basically turned his office into a museum of. I mean, it's actually wonderful. It's all his history is up there, and it's kind of cool. He's very, he's very self-aware. He's 88. He knows. Actually said, they're nibbling away at me. I wish it would just take me. This ailment, one ailment after another.
He'd rather be killed majestically by a dragon than nibbled to death by ducks.
Precisely. That's a little morbid. I'm sorry. We'll move on.
I'm sorry, but
no. You get it.
We're uncomfortable, so we joke. But there is some truth there.
No, there's absolutely. And you know what? As I get older, I think about this a lot more too. Apple is sticking taxpayers with part of the bill. This seems a little bit. This is from CNBC. This language seems a little slanted. Sticking taxpayers with part of the bill for rollout of tech giant's digital ID card. So only a few states have adopted this digital ID card. Apple says to the state, if you're going to do it, maybe this is why only a few states have done it, you have to provide customer support. Well, duh. You maintain the systems needed to issue and service credentials. You need to hire project managers to respond to Apple inquiries. You need to prominently market the new feature and push for its adoption with other government agencies. This is in the contract signed by the 4 states so far that have gone along with it: Georgia, Arizona, Kentucky, and Oklahoma. I think it would be great. I mean, I'd love it if California would let me have my driver's license in here. I already have in my wallet my vaccination card, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
So,
but still, it's obnoxious that this is a feature that actually helps people to choose to buy iPhones or continue to buy iPhones instead of our competitors who aren't supporting this quite so well or doing all the government stuff that's necessary to make this work. But we want you to help us sell all iPhones without. This is stuff that Apple should be paying for. That the marketing should be theirs. Some of the support should be there. It's not ours. The idea that they had that selling it not just to one agency but to all other agencies, that's on them. It's the idea that they want such a...
Apple also gets to review and approve the marketing that states are required to do.
That's baloney.
Yeah.
It's Apple said these are the terms and we'll do it, and they said yes. So I think
agreed, yeah.
I mean, I think that the thing is that, and the problem is it's going to get really easy, and people will look at the other states that don't have it as kind of backwards, which they are. And so the thing is that but Apple said this is, and I'm sure that Apple is spending as one of the first states, while you're not getting, Apple money or whatever, Apple did promote it. They're talking about it on their keynotes, and they will continue to do that. That is money that the states aren't spending on that process. Number two is that Apple is probably spending an enormous amount of effort on making it work from the back end. So they're saying this is a one-sided article. What they're not, because Apple, they don't know what the other side is, but I guarantee that Apple is putting heavy engineering into making sure that it actually works and expending, this is just making sure that the state doesn't, what happens if you don't have these requirements
I would
with a
argue
partner?
that this is not the way this should be done. It shouldn't be done with a private industry. It should be an open standard that all the states agree to and adopt. And then leave that up to Apple or Google to adopt it themselves. But this is the wrong direction to come from. These are state IDs. These are government state IDs. This should be done by the states. This should not be done by Apple.
When would that happen? When would that happen?
If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But this is exactly the problem right now. Silicon Valley stepping up saying, hey, we'll take it from here, government. Go away. We'll handle it. And that's exactly what's wrong with big tech right now. And I don't think this is a good trend.
Okay, well, I just don't think it would ever happen if they didn't go down this path. Government is largely not very good at acting quickly at things, and it's fine. It does things that are very useful. I'm not saying the government's not. There's a lot of use to government.
Estonia has a digital ID system. Actually, there've been some problems.
Sure, but
with
it's a tiny little country.
Yeah,
it's a tiny little country.
Well,
it's not the same.
Yeah, we have 50 tiny little countries. That's our problem.
I think it's good. I love it.
Yeah,
I love the fact that even though I can't really leave California, my wife loves California. I can't really leave California. I know that I could.
Right.
I think that's a stabilizing thing.
Texas,
I know that I choose to be
you
here. I could go to Nevada, or I could go to Oregon, or I could go to Pennsylvania, and I could do that. Even though I won't, I know that I always know that it's my choice.
By the way,
there
is a federal real ID, and I think it would be just a small step to make that digital compatible. The real reason it's not happened is because there is a strong political move against national IDs.
Right. No. There's absolutely. The governments definitely want you to be in digital ID. It makes it much easier for them.
Right. Which scares you more? A digital ID created by big tech or a digital ID created by government? I seem they both seem
big
bad.
Tech.
Big tech.
Yes.
I wouldn't know. They both seem like bad ideas.
One from column A, one from column B.
Yeah,
exactly.
Anyway, it's obviously up to the states whether they want to do it. So, and I think there is an advantage, although, I wonder how many people would say, I'm not going to wear a mask or get a vaccine. I'm definitely not going to have a state ID on my phone.
I apologize for being ignorant about this, but is this complicated by America where you have every state works differently? Because other places there'd be a federal.
That's why Estonia can do it.
Here's your new ID.
That's why Estonia can do it, because they don't have the political.
There's only.
But you guys can do passports, can't you? Do
Well, that's on a federal level. Also, things are getting a little bit more complicated.
You're also not required to have a passport. Unless you're
right,
that's true. Right,
and also the only nationalization is that now there are new standards for. I'm going to have to renew my ID soon, and it's not going to be show up or just fill out a form. It's going to be I'm going to have to show up. I'm going to have my birth certificate. I'm going to give a blood test. It's because of the new TSA. Thank you very much. Requirements. I think that's mostly where these new.
I don't know how it is in your state, but in California, you do not have to get a real ID. You could say, I don't want the real ID, federal ID. I want a regular. You can never fly. I want a regular driver's license.
I don't want. I'm hoping to lead a life in the future where I don't have to fly. I realize that one of the things that I've lost from COVID is I've lost that skin of like desensitization about how horrifying airline travel is. But when I do have to fly, I don't want to have to say, oh well, now it's going to take me 3 weeks to go get my birth certificate and do this. So it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
I used to just have to figure out how to deal with my hair. Now I've got to deal with paperwork as well. Thanks.
I have to admit that the spell for me for travel is broken. Like I have no interest.
100%.
Like zero interest. I'm like Whole Foods is like 8 minutes away. I gotta find what day I'm gonna go.
But they'll deliver it for $30.
No, but they always deliver the wrong thing.
I'm forcing myself to travel. I'm forcing myself to travel.
I'm trying to.
I'm making myself travel.
Not interested.
I haven't gone back to movies yet either. I'm just like I've become a bubble person.
Lisa said something shocking. She said we should all go to a movie on Thanksgiving. I said, what?
I know, right?
What?
Yeah.
We watched James Bond in the living room. We watched Dune in the living room. You want to go to a movie theater? Are you insane, woman?
Yeah.
I just watched Shang-Chi. It took like a month to get it.
Yeah. It's such a cultural touchstone that's kind of uniting us at this moment. I bought tickets to the last Comic-Con of the year because I thought I know that it's going to take me until the morning of to decide if I'm comfortable with attending a Comic-Con that has a mask mandate but no vaccine mandate. And at the morning of, my bag was all packed. I had my camera ready. I had my little outfit set up. And at the morning, I decided I'm just not feeling it. I'd much rather make a clean sweep of 2021. I'm glad that I supported the con by giving them money. I'm absolutely sincere when I say that I'm glad they at least got my money if they didn't get my presents. But I'm at a point where it is enough to try to figure out, do I really, really want to go all the way to Boston, the city I love that's only 45 minutes away, when I can just go to the library that's nearby? And like, okay, Andy, that's unhealthy. We are definitely going to the city in 3 days to have a good time.
I bought tickets to the last 3 movies and I didn't go. Like I wanted to support them. I bought tickets to Shang-Chi, to James Bond, because we're not getting them. Canada's not getting them.
So you just bought tickets out of like
so I bought
charitable
tickets
because you feel so bad.
Well,
for
no,
Hollywood?
I wanted to support. Well, also like Shang-Chi was the first really like Asian-led cast for Marvel. I thought it was important for them to have a good opening day.
Wow.
And the same thing. Like
that's a really interesting.
I feel bad about the theaters.
Contribution.
So I want to support them, but I just couldn't get out that door. It was like there was like a force shield there.
You were planning to go. You didn't just buy it.
I thought about it. But Shang-Chi, no way. I was not going to go to Montreal Theater back when Shang-Chi came out.
Yeah.
When Eternals and James Bond came out, I was considering it. But it's also like 30. Like I went to look, and the prices have gone up. If you go to like the nice seats in Montreal, it's like $25 a ticket.
I have to admit that but the worst part is that I've gotten to be horrible because I'm like, rent for $25? I'm not going to rent it. I'm going to wait. The real issue for movies is that there is so much content available that I'm willing to just wait until it hits about, I'll buy it at about $14.99, $19.99. I will not rent it at that number. And I really want it to be at $9.99 or $4.99. And the worst part is I root against the box office because that just means it's going to be more expensive for me to buy when I end up buying it. I'm like, I just hope this bombs because that means that I can get it cheaper. By the way, I have someone in the know who was listening to our show right now and just wants to make sure we're totally accurate. That says the states are the ones that have to validate the ID and require the servers and support. Like it's not Apple holding our content. Like it's the states that are still holding the content.
Which is probably why Apple
is just providing the service.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm just saying it was. I think I was driving. We were driving him a little crazy.
Right. I guess that's a good point. We weren't the choice.
I just want to make sure
it was not an accurate choice between big tech's ID and federal ID or state ID. It's all state ID.
I would have paid $100 for Dune at home if I could have seen it. I would have paid easily.
So we watched Dune at home for free on HBO Max. It was quite good. Yeah,
we didn't get it on HBO Max because
I just keep on getting better equipment at home. Like I just have, I'm looking at like a better screen. I'm not looking at like when will I go back to theater. I'm just going back to a better screen. I already have a pretty good audio system, and so I'm turning that up.
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty happy sitting 6 feet away from my OLED screen. I think.
How's that popcorn popper?
And the popcorn is 10 times better thanks to you, Alex. In fact,
I have a question for Alex.
Lisa actually said yesterday, thank Alex Lindsay again.
Can I ask Alex a quick question? Because I'm very confused right now. So Disney Plus finally debuted Shang-Chi, and it's called what is it? IMAX Extended or IMAX Optimized?
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Yeah, I saw that too.
What am I actually watching?
I actually can't say that
it's a 1:9.
You don't know.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what that. I think that it's the IMAX orientation or whatever. I think it's good.
They uncrop it, like they take a little bit of the crop off the top and bottom to fill our TVs better. I don't know.
It says extended aspect ratio.
So it's like probably like widescreen.
1 to 90:1, 26 more per picture.
It's a little bit more. Yeah, I haven't quite figured it out yet.
I think they just simulate what it's like to buy your tickets late and be sitting up front. So it's like keystoned like a million degrees. all you see are like huge feet and tiny heads.
Let me see. Here's the promo for it. Oh yeah, it's extreme bars. That's what it is. Look at that. Oh, wait a minute. It's not
opening
extreme
up.
bars. It's opening it up. Okay. So what you were getting.
So it's taking a 2.35 and
Yeah. Expanding it. Okay, that's good.
And Christopher Nolaning it? Is that a verb?
Christopher Nolaning it. Okay, that's good. I think that's good, right?
By the way, that with the popcorn ghee. So Nirali Gajar, who's a friend, said, you gotta use ghee for the popcorn.
I actually don't put butter. The popcorn that you recommend, which is we should say Amish country mushroom. It's the size, not the flavor. Mushroom sized popcorn available on Amazon. It's very, very good. And I do it in a thick walled whirly pop, not the cheesy tin ones. We can't get the one you use because they don't make it anymore. But I do what you. I put a little salt in with the oil.
But instead of the oil,
butter.
Nirali puts
instead of
puts
oil.
the ghee instead.
Oh, yeah, because ghee has a very high smoke point.
Yeah.
So, ghee is simply clarified butter for those of you who don't. Yeah. Just take the milk solids out of butter and it doesn't burn.
If 60 hertz is buttery smooth, then 120 hertz is ghee smooth.
Oh, ghee smooth. I might be trying that tonight, Alex. You fueled Monday Night Football last night, so thank you.
Very good, very good.
Hey, Niners, baby! Wow, yeah.
I would love to send them more popcorn if they get better graphics. The hard part is if you go watch Sunday Night Football and then you watch Monday Night Football,
Sunday's so much better. But they also have better announcers too, by the way. So
well, no. Here's the thing: is that they have Tony Romo on what we need is Tony Romo on Sunday Night Football, and then it would be the best.
Yes,
Chris Collinsworth is fine. He's good. He's good. But the thing is that it's the Monday Night Football team is doing the Friday or Sunday Night Football game now. The old one, the one that used to be Monday Night Football before it went to ESPN. Yes. The good team went to Sunday Night Football, and then they have some other team that always feels like it's like a slightly better than a college game.
It's going to get even worse because as Amazon starts doing more and more, they own Thursday night, but somehow they still let the network broadcast it. But as Amazon does more and more, I have a bad feeling about this. But anyway, that's sport ball, and I know none of you care about that at all, so we'll just move on.
I was mostly talking about the graphics, though.
That's true. It's about the graphics, man. It's not about the game.
NBA 2K222 is pretty good. The new story mode, I think I'm enjoying. At least I'm following. I'm following. Can I just say that I love this part of 2021 where it's like I've never been like following players on basketball, but there's a couple of game channels where they've created characters that I'm not like, oh geez, okay, well he's gonna have to spend some more time in G League if he thinks he's going to make it past like round 1 of the draft. Like, he got drafted. So, yes.
So, just getting back to the IMAX expanded aspect ratio, do you need a special TV to do that, or will your TV look...
They have certified TVs that they say work better with it, but the specs for those TVs seem all over the place. I think that's probably just a licensing grab. It looks like as long as you have a TV that like any modern TV...
I will force myself to watch a Marvel movie just so I can tell you how it works on my 20. I think it's
Shang-Chi is good, Leo, especially because you did Chinese studies. I think
I will watch Shang-Chi. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. I will watch Shang-Chi.
And there's so much in Mandarin.
Yep. Can I say this is why
Shang-Chi? Okay, sorry.
No. This is what I'm listening for when I hear people talk about the latest Marvel movie. It's like there's a flag that says, "Is this a real movie or is this a Marvel movie, so to speak?" And Shang-Chi is I'm so interested in it because people are saying no, it's like Black Panther. It's an actual movie. It's not like a $250 million episode of a soap opera. So yes, it will not be a baffling ordeal to figure out what the story is or who any of these people are or why any of this is important.
According to Wired,
Jackie Chan stunt team.
A number of TVs from companies like Sony, Hisense, and TCL support IMAX Enhanced. You can have an IMAX Enhanced compatible TV, and it's possible that some hardware could get updated to support it. Many TVs or sound systems are technically capable of outputting the kind of color, brightness, or audio quality the standard requires, but were shipped, as was mine, before it was introduced in 2018. Some devices have been updated. Pioneer and Onkyo adds Dolby Atmos and IMAX. Oh, it's a new sound. It's IMAX enhanced audio too. There you go, Volt. So
well,
I guess
DTS has a competing standard to Dolby Atmos, of course.
Yeah.
So.
And this is only on Disney Plus for now anyway. So
yeah.
It's so difficult now to figure out what can my TV do. Why would these features matter to me? Like when they're trying to tell you, oh well, this one has immersive sound. Like okay, is this now? It's not just like 3D. Where am I going to appreciate it? But it's also like I have a TV that I bought 3 years ago, and I'm using the cable that came with the TV to plug it into my AV receiver. Will these things actually make it through to my speakers and my TV? It's like this year. I feel as though I have to, after not having really paid much attention to my home theater setup, I feel like I have to do an audit of every single part of that link to figure out what can each of these boxes and cables do, and can investing $50 in little cables and little things unlock things that I'm supposed to be getting but am not. It's very confusing.
The bottom line is if the AVR knows what it's getting, if it knows it's getting Atmos, it gets a little more complicated with other formats. But if it knows it's getting Atmos, it's going to do what it needs to do depending on how many speakers you have plugged into it. So you have to tell it what you have. So say I've got 5.1 or 5.14 or 7.1.2 or whatever you have there, or the bar will have its own thing that it'll convert from that HDMI signal. But if you have an AVR, it should know, I'm getting an HD if it's modern. I mean, if it doesn't support Atmos, then it doesn't support Atmos. But if it does, the Apple TV going into the AVR will immediately, the AVR will do everything it needs to do as long as it knows how many speakers. And you'll know that the AVR knows how many speakers because you did a test with a mic to find out in the sweet spot to know where all the speakers are supposed to be and all that stuff.
Yep.
So.
And
that little mic should have come with the AVR.
I went out and bought a Dolby Atmos compatible receiver so that I could hear Apple Music. I think it was an Onkyo.
You got a Denon?
No, it was a Denon. Yeah. You're right. It was a Denon.
Yep. The Denons are popular.
A relatively recent Denon. But I didn't notice. I think Apple, I don't know. Anyway, Apple Surround, I think, doesn't use it or something. I don't know. But anyway.
Wow. I have a Denon.
Does it use it on yours?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm using an Apple TV going into the Denon receiver, but it just says stereo.
Well, how many speakers do you have connected to the
5.1.
to the Denon?
It's a 5.1 system.
It should. Well, it should be. It is what the receiver is identifying itself with to the Apple.
I wonder if there's something I need to tell the Apple TV to do.
Well, it should be.
I'm listening to Apple Music. This, the spatial music in Apple Music.
Right.
I thought I actually spent $400 on a new receiver, hoping I would get this.
I don't know. Mine. I have a 7. I have a 7.1.
Do you see it say?
So
does it say Dolby Atmos when you're playing spatial music?
Yeah, it says Atmos.
And when you regular stereo music, it goes back, right?
Yep.
I must.
So it's an identification because as soon as it does that, it starts putting. And I can tell you, I mean, it is. I'm literally about to install. During next week, I'm tearing my office apart and putting it back together in a different way. But I've got 7.1.4 individual speakers that are going into my home office, and because the reason is because both in our office where I have 5.1.4 and my living room at 7.1, listening to the music is amazing. I mean, because I can hear things coming off on either side. I can hear it coming from behind. The only thing I don't hear right now is above in my home office, but I definitely hear it. Yeah. In my office. I'll have to. I wonder maybe I don't have the right HDMI cable or something. Maybe, but I don't. Are you using monoprice? Oh, I'm using whatever's in the box full of HDMI cables. No, the reason I ask is that we've been having a lot of metadata problems with monoprice specifically. I buy a lot of monoprice cables, and we found that I kept on trying to figure out why does this cable not work and one other cable does, and I kind of started to sort out that the monoprice, the mid-range ones, the 10, 15, 20, 25, all don't seem to carry the metadata correctly, and I don't know why. The short ones, I have lots of short ones, and then really long monoprice ones that are one-way work fine. But this in-between stage, there's something missing there. Like can't control the Blackmagic cameras, can't get Atmos, can't get a bunch of other things in them. That's interesting. There's a free Linus just put up that. Yep. I was going to say there's a video that Linus put up that shows failure. Okay, go ahead, Eddie. You'll remember. No. I was going to say the fact that both of us were excited about recommending the same really great Linus Tech Tips video that will address exactly your situation. I'm the hype man, and now you actually deliver it.
Yeah, so Linus did a video where they bought a bunch of cables from a bunch of different vendors and they put them through testing to determine like just basically failure rates for these cables. And the failure rates were much higher than I think they expected, I expected, anyone expected, especially for monoprice, but even for like really expensive Belkins. And the longer they got, like you got over 10 feet, the failure rates got really, really high. Like some of the cables would work, but like increasing numbers wouldn't work at all. So it's
well, especially at 4K.
Do you remember which brand they said? Like basics were okay.
I'm going to go with Cable Matters. I've had
bad.
great results, and I know Benson Leong has recommended for USB-C to go with Cable Matters. So I see Amazon has some Cable Matters HDMI cables. These are the latest standard.
I think they recommended active for over 10 feet.
Okay, but I'm not going to go over 10 feet. I'm just going to do 3-meter cables, but not 3-meter, 2-meter cables. But
But Alex, I'm definitely texting you the link to this, not only so that you can see like the testing, but also they have this amazing box that tests all kinds of cables. You just chonk in like the HDMI module, and will give you a really detailed report.
I think we have that box.
I think
don't we have that box? I think we have that box.
Nice diagrams too.
Yeah.
This is these Cable Matters three pack for $19 seems like that's a pretty darn good price, and I think Cable Matters makes excellent cables. So I'll tell you what. I will buy these and let you know if that fixes the problem.
And I now get 8K cables, not because I'm doing 8K, but because 8K cables make really good 4K cables.
That's what I figure, right?
Oversampling. We're oversampling.
2.1. I think the failure rate for HDMI 2.1 was way higher than HDMI 2.0, especially over 10 feet.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And some of the 2.0 could handle 2.1.
Oh, that's
so it was just like the specification wasn't updated. Yeah.
The funny thing is that the Apple, the old Apple cables, which I hold on to like gold, for some reason would work all the time, like everywhere, all the time. 4K, whatever. And it's like they built them for a future they didn't need them for. They got rid of them by the time they got there, but they work really well. They don't make them anymore, so you have to find them.
So I'm gonna now see. I was just thinking, well, maybe spatial audio is designed for 2 speakers, so I should just live with that. But now you got me going. I spent the money on the receiver. I want my gosh darn surround.
You want my Atmos?
Yeah. I want my Atmos. Let's take a little break. Come back with more. Rene Ritchie, plug it. Look at you, Mr. Collab, plugging in Linus Tech Tips. Look at you. He is.
He's Canadian.
Yeah. Oh, he is? I didn't know that. All right. In that case.
Yeah, he's in Vancouver.
YouTube.com/Rene Ritchie. Andy Anatko from WGBH and Points East. He's at anatko.com. And, of course, from 090.media and officehours.global, Alex Lindsay. Our show today brought to you by IT Pro TV. Whether you're a seasoned IT professional or you're trying to get that first job in IT, IT Pro TV is the community you need. Big fans of their founders. I know them well, Tim Broom and Don Pizzette. Just think the world of these guys. They created IT Pro TV because it was the training they wanted for themselves. And now, man, they have done so well. I'm so proud of them. They have 7 studios now in their Gainesville, Florida headquarters. They're filming every day, taping, digitizing every day, Monday through Friday. They use the best trainers, all experts in the field, but also selected for their ability to communicate, engage, for their passion. So you'll enjoy watching them explain how all this stuff works. And because they have those studios running so much, they move stuff into the course library within 24 hours. Their library is the most up-to-date library out there. That's important because the tests change, the certs change. There's always new versions of software, and so they're always up to date. The official video training partner for CompTIA means you're going to get the best CompTIA training. And, of course, those are the certs that people need to get started on most often, like A+, Security+. You can learn anytime from the comfort of your own home on your own schedule. All the shows, all the episodes are divided into 20 to 30-minute chunks, so it's very easy. You can do it on your lunch hour, whenever you got a minute. They even have really nice transcripts that are searchable, which means you can actually go to a part of, let's say there's an exam question you're really having trouble with. You can go to the exact part of the course and find that information you need fast. This month, AWS month, they've been doing monthly programs, which is great. Coming up in a couple of days, they're going to do a webinar on Cloud Data Protect on AWS featuring Tracy Pierce, Senior Security Consultant for AWS. That's 2 p.m. Eastern, but don't worry because you can see all the webinars on demand after the fact at itpro.tv/webinars. itpro.tv/webinars. You can see what's coming up. You can catch up on any you missed that are on demand. There's lots of them there. I think IT Pro TV is pretty darn amazing. I'm really proud of these guys and all those great edutainers. Start your IT career today by getting educated and certified. Big companies are starved for IT professionals right now. Make a lot more money with a job that's really satisfying. Visit itpro.tv/MacBreak for an additional 30% off all consumer subscriptions for the lifetime of your active subscription. Just use the code MacBreak30. MacBreak30. That's a really good offer for any of the consumer subscriptions. itpro.tv/MacBreak. Offer code MacBreak30. 30% off as long as you stay active for the lifetime of your journey. IT Pro TV. Build or expand your IT career and enjoy that journey. itpro.tv/MacBreak. Offer code MacBreak30. Please use that. That way they know you saw it here. And that helps us quite a bit. Let's see. Oh, boy. We're really hearing from a lot of people that app tracking transparency it's bad for our business. Peloton is now the latest. They're blaming app tracking for making it more difficult to gain new app subscribers, is Mark Gurman tweeting, for digital subscriptions. However, subscriptions are up, so...
They didn't say how, though, did they? Unless I missed it. Did they say how?
Yeah, not sure how it would be, right?
How is it? Like, we're not stalking you when you go to visit a health club website, so we know how to target you? Is that like, I don't know.
Well, that's probably it. You know, let's say you put Peloton's app on there, which you can do without any Peloton hardware, and they see that you go work out at the club because they are tracking you, let's face it. Then they say, oh, well, this person's active. We really should serve them an ad the next time they're on Instagram for our bikes.
Well, and it's also just building this larger web that they use for most of the stuff. So the way a lot of this works is that, we're tracking a bunch of information about you, but we're collating it with everybody else at the same time. So everybody else that goes to the gym, or everybody else that uses Peloton, or everybody else so for instance, there's a little Facebook bit that sits on a website. You go to that website. It's not just affecting you, it's affecting everyone that knows you, because it goes, okay, well, these people might be connected. And if they're using the apps and all the information, it allows them to kind of cross-pollinate all that data. So it's really, the tracking stuff is very, very powerful, and I think that the what people are voting for constantly is that they don't want to play anymore. And I think, not everybody, only like, what is it, 85%. so it's like, I think it's 85%.
It's a very high number, yeah.
It's a very high number of people
why
going,
not?
I don't want to play.
Everybody does. I don't even think about it, and I'm not even against app tracking. But you know what? The way Apple phrases it, allow this app to track you across all the other apps.
Like, remember when the Bluetooth warning came on and you suddenly realized all these apps that had nothing to do with Bluetooth we were trying to get your Bluetooth.
Yeah.
And now it's like all these apps that aren't even ad apps. They're just like really
why would Peloton want to know? Yeah, exactly.
It was like the CTV app and like the Canadian National Network apps were all tracking me across. I had no idea that they were doing that. Why?
Right,
why CTV? Why CBC?
I know it's like, it's just, it's when it's just, you just get into this thing like, really? Like, you had to do that? And I feel like that way every time I get the website one as well. It's just like, you were really pulling all that information, like PG&E, you were tracing me, it's just really, I guess I find it a little insulting. And I think that, I get the argument that it's more relevant. I've really come to the conclusion, thinking more and more about it, I don't want my ads to be relevant. I don't want to constantly be making a decision about that. I just don't want them to be smarter about that. I feel like it's a constant, lower brain stimulus that I'm not interested in anymore. And so it's not just I feel like they're stealing our privacy. I feel like they're stealing our sanity. I think that's part of what turns us.
Well, something's
turns everybody
stealing
up
your
a couple
sanity.
notches.
Clearly, Alex, you're going crazy.
Totally fine.
I guess
they've been saying that for decades.
It wouldn't steal your sanity if you didn't know about it. So who's stealing your sanity? Apple.
But you want ads for things you don't want to buy.
I don't think.
Otherwise, you'll spend money.
I don't think that people understand how deep it is, though. Like it's this cross-pollination of all of the data. When you go to Safeway, they're cross-pollinating what you buy.
Absolutely.
You know, with what sites you go to, and all of those things are them. You know, and then every post that you see and every little ad and all these other things. And I'm just not. You know, like I think that people are getting tired of. I don't think it's just me. I think. Given the response to in the App Store, I think that I'm not the only one that has decided they don't want to play anymore.
Yeah,
it's all about give us a bigger loyalty card. Sorry, Andy.
Yeah. It's all about knowledge and transparency. It's like for years and years and years, I think that people had no real awareness of the working conditions of people who are making our clothes, or assembling our phones, or doing stuff like that, and that's why companies were able to continue to not really care about that. But once that becomes more visual, it doesn't matter like the economic reasons why a company decided to go that direction. It doesn't matter if they want to argue that, well, the thing is this is razor at this level of the market, there are absolutely razor slim margins, and also Walmart is actually demanding that if we can possibly pay our workers less, we must pay our workers less by contract. That doesn't matter, because as consumers, we're the ones who have to make the decisions. We're the ones who have to be comfortable with how we're spending our money. And although if this were a longer discussion, you have to factor in that people don't want to pay for stuff, and if you give them something superb that they don't have to pay for, they don't really think about like how well you're forcing. If you're not going to give us $18 a month for this amazing list manager that saves you $18,000 a year, we're going to have to monetize it somehow. So that is part of the discussion. But the thing is, people are not going to find things palatable simply because they don't know about it. Once you start informing people about this sort of stuff, this is going to have to force you to change your business, and it's not, and no one will shed a tear about it.
I just saw a post, I'm trying to find it, about Walmart testing out stores with hundreds of cameras. If I could find this this picture of it, it's kind of chilling. I mean, there's cameras every few feet.
Don't worry. They're just using it to abuse their hourly laborers. It's not for the consumers.
Okay. Oh, good. As long as that's all it's for, I'm fine.
They decided to introduce this new micro dock payment system where if they figure out that you hesitated before putting that can of beans on the shelf, they're going to dock you for the 0.8 of a cent in which you weren't actually putting the beans on the shelf.
Well, it is like those Vegas mini bars where if you just remove the peanuts, they charge you because they've got little sensors.
Maybe iPhone 14 will have an EPM or like one of those pulse things that'll just blind all the cameras. That'll be one of the features that they offer. You know, the iPhone 14 now with camera blocking.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something wrong with me. I just don't care. It's fine. What am I hiding? I don't care. They can know I wear it.
And
it's not hiding.
That's your choice to make.
I guess. I don't know.
So long as you understand the transaction you're entering into, so long as they wrote it down, as long as you read the contract, so to speak, before signing it, that's fine. Again, Rene and I we're not polar opposites, but we definitely have different opinions on our relationships with Google. I feel as though what Google gives me is worth what I'm giving them, and also they're above a certain minimum level of trust. However, I'm glad that there is the iPhone out there. I'm glad that there are alternative services out there in many cases for people who are like, I have read that contract and I am not willing to sign it. I don't want to do business with these people.
Walmart says this is a story from 2 years ago, actually, but I guess it's stuck in my mind. Walmart says they're only using it for restocking, but look at the camera. If I went in a store and I saw cameras like that,
film the Matrix bullet time on that.
That is every square inch. But they say we're not doing it. This was a concept a couple of years ago. I don't know if they ever implemented it.
So, Leo, my whole thing is like, it's a revenue share. Like if you go in the door, that essentially is the EULA. You're saying, I agree to be photographed. But usually they need a model release. They'd have to compensate you for your time. Maybe you get a wardrobe budget. And I feel the same as Andy. Like I think YouTube is a fair deal for me. With Google Photos, I'd like a little bit of cash to help train their machine learning. I don't think that's too wrong.
Would you use one of those Amazon grab-and-go stores where they know what you bought because they got cameras and you logged in when you walked in and then you just walk out?
The first time I went to Apple, when they had like you would just scan it yourself and walk out, I thought for sure I'd be chop blocked on my way out the store. I thought there's no way this could work. They're going to think I'm a shoplifter. That giant goon at the side there is going to take me down so quick. It was so anxiety. And like, I feel the same thing. It's like, maybe their stuff's working. Maybe I'm about to be arrested.
that I did talk to someone at an Apple store one time, just talking about the exact thing, because it just feels like you're stealing every single time. You pay for it on your phone, and it just feels like somebody is going to, at least talk to you, and then you just walk out, and he's like, no, go ahead, take it, go, and I talked to someone, and they said, yeah, that's not how people steal stuff from us. That's not the way it happens.
Right.
I have to say that I would want to, if they're not paying somebody to give me personal service, I'm not mad about it, I'm not upset about it, but I want to get full value out of it. So after I complete the purchase, I would like have that thing, and I would just run out the door. And let someone spend let a couple people spend the mental bandwidth to have to check to see, did he pay for that before figuring out what just had happened. Because I would find I'm already enjoying, there's a liquor store like kind of within walking distance that I buy like ice and sodas from, but it's like I kind of enjoy, like, now I feel the Reservoir Dogs theme going in my head when I'm walking the parking lot and I put on my mask. Dum 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 dum.
I think we've seen from the cameras from Apple stores is that no one's going to stop you ever. Like, they're not going to stop you. They're not. But the problem is that
for policy, right? That's safety and
the policy
safety of customers, safety of workers. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want an interaction, and so, but you're running with a phone that they can track.
Also, you were well documented.
Not going to work.
Also, they were tracking your phone as you walked in, because remember, we know that they're not like, oh, we don't have any beacons that are looking for Bluetooth signatures or IDMI. Yeah. It's like, no, they're probably going to get you.
Remember Apple's iPhone 12 announcement that featured 5G pretty heavily, as I remember.
5G.
Biggest
scam.
Actually, it might be the C-band 5G, which is around 5 megahertz, is being slowed down. AT&T and Verizon are delaying 5G's rollout because the FAA says it interferes with airplane safety.
Yeah, we're not allowed to use airports in Canada.
Yeah.
We finally got to a point where we don't have to turn off our phones, in the plane.
Because the towers are bringing the planes down now. That's good. It would limit pilots' use of certain automated cockpit systems, such as nothing important.
No, but I don't think it's the towers. I don't think it's the towers. I think it's the people in the plane, I think, are what's affecting.
No, it's from the towers.
Okay.
Such as those that help planes land in poor weather. Those limits would aim to avoid potential interference from wireless towers on the ground. This is according to the Wall Street Journal, transmitting the new C-band 5G signals.
Okay.
Yeah,
weather people complain too.
Yeah. Well.
The FCC has gotten way over its ski. I mean, it is this greed of like, how many spectrums can we sell? Let's get rid of everybody's wireless transmitters for their phone.
AT&T
for their,
and Verizon spent
ask every school
of billions of dollars on those licenses.
Well, but think about because it's a really good frequency. Like this will solve a lot of 5G problems.
3.7 to 4.2 gigahertz. Did I say megahertz? Gigahertz. It's a really good frequency. Kind of the Wi-Fi spectrum. Yeah.
It is, but it's a really good frequency. But the problem really is that again, the FCC, taking away, so many wireless transmitters from people, like, whether you're a professional, school, church, like all of their mics had to be repurchased, and so they moved the money. They moved the money from the wireless. I mean, the millions and millions and millions. I don't know if it's the equal amount of moving, but they basically pressed a cost onto consumers by moving those frequencies. And for, I don't know. I mean, there'll be we'll be talking about 6G or something else by the time this actually rolls out.
It actually could contribute to supply chain shortages, because they have to ground cargo flights as well as passenger flights. The presentation by a coalition of aviation groups to the White House is expected this week to warn that the potential FAA restrictions could result in airports or even regions being shut down as passengers and shippers experience flight cancellations, delays, and diversions. So it's a battle between the, telcos, the FCC, and the airlines.
Wasn't America mismanaged? Like, wasn't all the frequency, like a lot of the European and other countries are rolling out very regulated, very well thought out 5G plans. And it seems like America was just like, oh, we need to find more bandwidth. Where can we get it from?
We'll just take it. We'll just take. Well, it's just because we had it. We were already using that bandwidth for something else, and a lot of other regions weren't necessarily using that bandwidth for that. So there was open bandwidth to grab onto, and we already, we've been much more aggressive about it for 30 years, and so it got us. We were ahead of it, but it really was a huge displacement for something that, I don't know if I'll ever see. Where I live, I just don't, it's a waste of money.
And unfortunately, that part of the infrastructure is a business infrastructure. It's not considered part of national infrastructure, which I think is one of the biggest mistakes that this country has ever made as a matter of policy. It should be owned by this. I'm not always a fan of government regulation, of government ownership of stuff, but it's like no. We own. We are in control of people's access to broadband, of people's access to the communications network. We will allow you to play in our pool and maybe make some money there, but we get to tell you exactly where you're going to be delivering services, how much you're going to be charging for it, and how fast you need to innovate in order to keep up with the average person in a lot of other countries. It's terrible.
Yeah. So this is the Canadian announcement. They said that the Ottawa stuns telecoms. A surprise announcement that Canadians living near airports won't get full 5G service. And this is mere weeks after they spent like $9 billion. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks after the auction. Ottawa announced that they can't put it near airports. So they're super happy.
Are you all excited about Disney Melee Mania? Huh? It's just an Apple press release. I'm just reading press releases.
There.
Mickey Mouse settling against Donald Duck. Like, finally, we settled this.
It kind of is. Here's Mickey from the Sorcerer's Apprentice fighting.
Be only one.
It's Smash Brothers,
Buzz
right? Like they did Smash Brothers for Nintendo, then for Nickelodeon, and now for Disney.
Yeah, I guess so. From Wreck-It Ralph, Elsa, and Mickey Mouse to Frozone, Moana, and Buzz Lightyear, each player will choose their unique holographic hero to battle in 3 versus 3 matches with friends and foes.
Yeah, I want to see these beloved characters fight. I want like a post-apocalyptic.
I think there should be blood. Do you think there'll be death moves like finish him?
Yeah.
Really famously last month they announced the last character for Nintendo Super Smash Brothers, and it was from Kingdom Hearts, and everyone was hoping it was going to be Mickey or Donald or Goofy or somebody.
That would be fun.
And it turned out to be just one of the normal characters. And so that's probably because of this. There's no way to actually have Mario punch Mickey. You have to get 2 separate games for that, kids.
You shouldn't have to do that. I enjoy it when like game fans like will reskin or like will import the character models from like an innocuous game and then put it into like a super violent game. I think that's super funny, but I think that when it's come to the licensee, I think they need to ask. It's okay to have these people it's okay to have these 2 characters fight each other in go-karts. That's fine. It's just that when it's like punch, stab. Well, maybe there's a cartoon knife. I don't know. It seems like more of a Warner Brothers thing.
All I'm saying is don't pick Kenny. Like if you're gonna
Kenny dies every time.
Oh my gosh!
No. See that's what will make him dangerous. He does not fear death one little bit. He will take out the 2 of you.
Exactly.
Macro mode switch in iOS 15.2, beta 3. You can turn off the macro mode. I don't know. Is that even a news story? I guess it is. All right, I've run out. I've literally used up everything I've got. I've fired all the ammunition I can. You guys shut it all down. Let's take a break, and then I will give you a chance to do your picks of the week. Just a little bit. Our show today brought to you by, I think, a company I can really get behind, as I think with all our sponsors. But in this case, this is something I'm a big believer in. We get on the radio show, I have a lot of blind listeners because it's radio and they love it. And I think probably it's true of all of our podcasts. But they're always telling me we could do better with accessibility. Maybe your company could do better with accessibility. It's always a challenge when you have a website thinking about, well, how do we make this more accessible? I've got a solution, Userway at userway.org. According to the law, every website, without exception, needs to be accessible. It's a public entity. In fact, there was a big court case. Well-known national pizza chain said, well, we've got a phone number. That's accessible enough. Supreme Court said, no, that's separate but equal. You're a public entity. Your website has to be accessible. The good news is it's easy thanks to Userway. It's the right thing to do, but it's also the legal thing to do, because you could be liable if you don't meet the Americans with Disability Act's law for accessibility. UserWay is an incredible AI-powered solution that tirelessly enforces the hundreds of the Web Access Guidelines, WCAG guidelines, and it's just a line of JavaScript you could put in your code. It goes out, it gets everything working on your website. What it basically does is it puts an accessibility layer in correctly so that screen readers and others can actually see that site in the way they need to. And UserWay can do it with one line of code, achieve more than an entire team of developers. 1 million websites use UserWay. Some of the biggest in the world. Disney uses it, Coca-Cola, eBay, FedEx. You might think, well, that means it's going to cost a lot of money. No, in fact, when you find out how affordable it is, you might be shocked. I was. It's very affordable. UserWay is making its best-in-class enterprise-level accessibility tools available to small and medium businesses. This is what we need to make the web accessible. And if you do scale, UserWay will be there with you. I mean, if they can handle it, Disney and eBay and Coca-Cola, they can certainly handle you. An accessible, compliant site is not just the right thing to do, it's good for business too. 60 million Americans have disabilities. You don't want to lock them out of registration forms or nav menus or shopping carts. Make it accessible. UserWay makes it possible for millions of people to purchase your products. For years, UserWay has been on the cutting edge, creating innovative accessibility technologies that push the envelope of what's possible with AI and machine learning and computer vision. It's kind of remarkable. They're your eyes, in effect. UserWay's AI automatically fixes violations at the code level, auto-generates image alts, writes descriptions for you, and you can, by the way, enhance those if you want. Remediates complex nav menus, ensures that all the pop-ups are accessible, fixes vague link violations, fixes any broken links, ensures your website makes use of accessible colors while remaining true to your brand. And you'll get a detailed report of all the violations that were fixed on your site. And as I said, you can easily then go in there and tweak it if you want. Completely platform agnostic. It works everywhere. WordPress, Shopify, Wix. It's just an easy, cost-effective way to make your site accessible. It works with AEM, Sitecore, SharePoint, even your own hand-coded site. UserWay integrates seamlessly. That UserWay help your business meet its compliance goals and improve the experience for your users. You can even go to the website userway.org/twit and use their free scanning tool to check what needs to be done to make your site ADA compliant. Just listen to Susan Bennett, voice of Siri. She's got a message about UserWay.
UserWay is trusted by more than 1 million websites and 60 million users with disabilities. Visit userway.org to learn how one line of code can make your website accessible.
UserWay can make any website fully accessible and ADA compliant with UserWay. Everyone who visits your site can browse seamlessly and customize it to fit your needs. Great way to show your brand's commitment to millions of people with disabilities. Go to userway.org/twit, 30% off UserWay's AI-powered accessibility solution. UserWay, making the internet accessible for everyone. Userway.org/twit. Thank you, UserWay, for doing a great job and for supporting our show. This just in, I missed the big story of the day, a big update to The Simpsons Tapped Out. Thank you, Scooter X. Are you still playing Simpsons Tapped Out, Scooter X? Holy cow. I want my donuts back. Speaking of donuts, let's say hi to Rene Ritchie for his pick of the week.
All right, so this is just delights me on so many levels. There's a designer, an iOS designer, well, an Apple designer, independent designer, Michael Flarup, and he's put together a book of iOS icons, a look back, a historical, big coffee table, the app icon book. And it's got some of these, I haven't seen like the Hipstamatic icon in years. Like just so many apps that had such, especially the pre-iOS 7 days when they had these rich, textured, lickable icons. And this has the involvement of so many of the developers. And like this is like you can, we'll fight over this if you want to, but this is an art form. And so many designers took so much time and effort to make each one of these like pixel perfect. It took huge pride in them. It was, it was like the first appearance your app would make. You would look at the store and some people would make like, am I going to download this or that just based entirely on how the icon looked, how good the icon looked. And they were still really fantastic. Like the history of the tweet spot icon. This just appeals to me, and my background is in design, so I'm predisposed to love this. But just the idea of being able to have something that is this much of a love letter to the art of icon design, it makes me feel so happy. And it's a Kickstarter, so always with Kickstarter, be warned that it's not a promise of an exchange. It's a support of a dream. A lot of them do get realized, some don't. But just this looks so wonderful. I had to back it immediately.
This would be a nice coffee table book, wouldn't it? I love this. Yeah.
I love the challenge of icon design, where it's like, no, you don't get an entire wall to do a mural. You get this tiny space that is probably going to be squeezed down to a tiny little app drawer. So not only does it have to have a function of making sure that it's part of the identity of the app, but it also has to be clear. It has to be beautiful. It's like bridge design, where it's not enough that the Golden Gate Bridge be a very pretty looking iconic structure. It has to function as a bridge. And now you take that, you have to also make the bridge like 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch, and you get some of the biggest superstars of graphic design and art participating in this.
And by the way, the book is almost completely done. It's not like you're saying, here, take $1,000 and we'll see you in 3 years.
I just always warn people with Kickstarter. But if you could go back to the pictures of the designers, Leo, like if you just take a look at who's
it's big names.
Who's in there. Yeah, like Mark Edwards is Bajango, and like there's so many such really, really good people involved in this.
Yeah. I think this is a great idea. It's also interesting to me because normally you'd go to Chronicle Books or somebody and say, hey, I want to publish this book, and they'd probably give you a green light, and you'd get 50 cents on the dollar if you were lucky. Instead, go to Kickstarter, do it yourself. Nowadays, that's probably a reasonable way to do it. They wanted $11,000 to do it. They've got $118,000.
I know.
I think they're well on their way.
The oh crap moment of the Rene Kickstarter, saying that I was ready to print and ship 500 of these, and now I have to start an entire business and quit my job just to complete my obligations.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Icon
928
Factory could have
people.
their own book, right?
928 people have bought the hardcover.
It would be funny if we found out that was the advance that some book company offered them.
Yeah,
Was that number?
That's why 11,000. I think you're right. I bet that's exactly right. Yeah, that was possibly, so. This is what they said they'd pay us. What would you pay us for this? Yeah, this is the right way to do a book these days. And nowadays there are plenty of print-on-demand places that'll do gorgeous work. I think this is smart, neat. Kickstarter. Search for the iOS app icon book, and you'll find it very quickly. Yeah. Andy Anako, your pick of the week.
Really good solution. I've been using my new iPad Pro a lot more over the past few months. The only times where I haven't liked it are times where I thought that, gee, I just wish that Safari just worked like a desktop web browser. And part of that is complaining to Apple, but most of it is complaining to websites that if you just did nothing, if you just showed a web page and let Safari and the built-in stuff that's in iOS handle it, you would not be making me so frustrated right now. So there's a $7.99 plugin on the iOS store called Stop the Madness that this is exactly the right word for it. All it really does is it strips away everything that websites do to screw up the experience artificially. So like if you've ever been on a page where it's like a long article, but they won't let you stretch to enlarge it because they block that, or you can't like copy something out of it because copying has been disabled.
Oh, I hate that.
Or you can't use picture-in-picture because although it works with any video stream, they put something on top of it that makes it not work anymore. All it does is basically defeats all of this stuff that's being done in JavaScript to make sure that your experience on a mobile device absolutely stinks. And there are a couple of privacy and security features things, but for me, it really is just about, I want to be able to use picture-in-picture on this 48-minute video. And I just want to, here is a piece of text, I just want to copy it so I can use it someplace else. And then when you paste it, instead of saying, in 2008, Apple spent over $1,800 on premium water on this one thing. But instead of that text, it's like, set a source at the ... It's a promotion for the website. Here's where you got it from. And here's other stuff that you can see about it. Like, no, this is the text. All of this stuff that's like, just don't interfere with what I'm explicitly asking you to do. And you, Mr. Website, will be wonderful. So this short circuits, all that sort of stuff. Very, very happy to spend $7.99 for it. They also have a version for desktop browsers that's available in the Mac App Store. That's $9.99. For me, it's nice, but it's not as critical as, again, restoring basic functionality that allows me more power to use this really, really beautiful iPad as a replacement for what I would usually have taken a laptop to do. So a very, very good $8 to spend, and it's constantly being updated. Don't be scared when you go to the developer website and it was like it's HTML like 1.4. I swear to God, it's like it looks so super sketchy. Oh, so you released this in 2006 and never updated it? No, take a look at the update log. It is getting regular updates for everything.
I think he's just a fan of simple. God bless him. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know how hard they make it to use Reddit as a website.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing where it's like, if I wanted to use your app, Reddit, Tumblr, Twitter, whatever, I would be using your app right now. Right. Don't interrupt me by saying, "What? I should open this," or would you rather download and install the Twitter app, or even worse, oh, I see that you have the Twitter app installed. Therefore, I'm not going to open this as a link. I'm going to open this inside the Twitter app, where you can then not share it out with other places. The fact that
video has cuss words in it, we're not going to let you watch it on the website. You have to go to the app because there's cuss words in this YouTube video.
Right. It's like, again, but the one place where technology always gets me the most mad is where I'm finding myself saying to the app or the gadget or whatever, just do nothing. If you do nothing but what I'm asking you to do, I will love your product. But no, you have to decide, oh, I don't think this should be, I think this should be louder than it actually is, or I think that this should actually have little pop-ups on it that explain what the content is. Like, no, do nothing and you'd be perfect.
Underpassapp.com, Jeff Johnson, stop the madness, one of his many different tools.
Probably owes some money to Susan Powter, but that's a joke that only Generation X and older would understand. So
thank you for that, Andy Anaka. And now your pick of the week, Alex Lindsay.
So I have two picks. One, just a quick mention that Black Friday is a good time if you like Waves plugins. If you're an audio person, they're very cheap right now. There is a subscription that happens a year from now, so know that. But there is, but you can buy a lot of plugins very inexpensively. We've been talking a lot about it on Office Hours.
Are these VST plugins? Is that what these are? I
think they do AU plugins, that'll work with Logic and lots of other things. And there are many. There are many. Yeah, there are so many. And I'm only getting 6 or 8 of them. But what happens is, this is the best marketing ever. It goes, you buy, they're like 80% off or something like that. And then you buy one, it says the next one on top of the 80% off is 20% more off. And you're like, oh, I'll have another one. And then it goes, next one is 30% off. Next one is 40% off. So if you buy them as a group, you end up with, on top of the price, you end up with 50% off whatever it is. So it becomes, a large collection of them that would normally cost a lot of money, don't cost very much. It's like a Mac. It's like the Mac, those big Mac sales, but just for audio plugins. And so anyway, so check that out. My pick for the week is what's called the Studio. I'll show it to you. This is a Studio Technologies. This is a little bit geeky and expensive, but the Studio Technologies 205, which is right here. Let's see if I can cut to this. So this is it right now. These don't come with it. These are the rocks my daughter paints for me. Anyway, so
that's adorable.
But yeah, she's very good at it.
She should sell those rocks. I'd buy those rocks. Let's do the Kickstarter.
I know. See, yeah, there we go. Those are the rocks that she paints for me. Yeah, she's very good at it. And so. So what this is, it's basically it's kind of like a cough, but really high tech. So what you have here is, you can see I muted myself. I can mute myself there. That's fine. But also, if I had other channels that I was connected to over Dante, I can. You'll see when I push down, I disappear. If I want to talk back to somebody and go off air, it automatically shuts this one off. And again, it's all over Dante. And, I have a control panel here that is, what the gain looks like and what the main switch is going to do and what the talkback switches are going to do and what kind of operating mode. And there's remote controls that can be done. So it's really a a fully featured. This is kind of the broadcast level of your announcer console, and this is a tiny one compared to some of the other ones I've owned. I wanted something that would fit on the desk, and again, it uses Dante. So it theoretically, if you have Dante Virtual Sound Machine, it'll go straight into your computer. The gain is a little low at least for the Heil. So you need to have. So I run it through something else to do that, and it'll do that with the main switch with analog. So you could do analog through that, and then have the talkbacks still turn that switch off when you touch them. And we've been using these for a long time, a decade. This is just my first personal one that I just got for my home little broadcast.
So your home has Dante audio over Ethernet in every room, all throughout the house?
Not through the house, just through my office.
Okay.
Working on the house.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
Well, I have a big plan. I'm trying. My big plan is to get a BSS 806 to go into the system with a bunch of crown amps, and then I can use the Blue network to tie the ground amps in, and then put Dante through the whole house. And I can use little Bluetooth to Dante, so you could just open up your phone and jump on the network or whatever. And because I've got a lot of, it came with the house, but there's a lot of speakers in the house, and so I think that.
So this is basically Ethernet for audio wiring. But can you ride
really
on top
powerful.
of your internet Ethernet, or do you have to have a separate net? You have to have a separate.
No, it can. No, it doesn't have to. Here's the deal. For the most part, for something like what I'm using it for, you can absolutely have it be just on its own. It works just fine.
We hardwired the whole house about a year ago. Be kind of cool to put Dante over it.
Oh yeah, it's great. The main thing is you do have to understand your network a little bit, because there's some clocking issues that can occur, and you have to have one piece of hardware that has the Audinate chips in them. So if you just support software, and almost anything you get will have that, any piece of hardware. So like this one will help it, sync itself. And so but in my office, all the major going back and forth between stuff is all in Dante. Just the only place I have to be out of Dante is when I go from the mic, into this little thing, and then everything else is all Dante. So anyway, I
want mics in every room.
Well, that's your phone. Well, what I want is because I have speakers in every room.
In addition to your smart speakers, you mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I have, they're all dumb speakers on my end. But if I can make them smart through this kind of hub, I've even been thinking about security, where if you had motion detectors, you could have it sound like there's a dog always in the other room.
Nice.
You could hear the little paws going across the hardware. And then you could have like speakers upstairs going, "Honey, where's the shotgun? Where's the shotgun?" It's like, and then you hear this old woman just go, "Two in the chest, one in the head, two in the chest." And then you hear the dum 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 dum. You could do all of those things. You put all those things in your house, and someone broke in, and it'd be like a Home Alone, except with Dante.
And it all starts with the Model 205 Announcer's Console from Studio Technologies Incorporated.
Exactly.
You'll get to know all kinds of members of your local police tactical enforcement teams.
Exactly.
You're having an open house.
We're using audio, and it's a kind, gentle way to tell intruders to
one's
leave.
hurt. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Actually, I want to credit Scooter X for my pick of the week this week. He told me about the brand new Indiegogo for Hyper. I bought a lot of Hyper extensions. This is their triple 4K display dock for MacBook Pro, featuring 15, count them, USB-C ports, plus support for triple 4K by 60 hertz extended displays. It even works with older MacBooks, but I bet it would work really well with my M1 X.
Too much power, Leo. It's going to corrupt you.
$149. I'm not necessarily recommending it, although I have bought, and I've through Indiegogo, because this is how Hyper does their products. They've had 18 campaigns. I've bought a number of dongles from Hyper I've been very happy with. This one sounds pretty awesome. I need 15 USB-C ports. I need it.
Just for your microphones.
Yeah. Dante over USB-C. Now it's got VGA.
You could have cameras like Walgreens.
That could be like Walgreens.
There you go.
Live the dream. Build a huge platform like the pharmacist to work from.
So many connections.
So many. Driverless triple 4K. 15 connective ports.
3 of them are never not going to work and drive you nuts simultaneously.
A lot of these are decorative, but it's all about the flex. It's not about the actual function.
Oh, and then if you
they're like
snap
Tesla,
on,
there's nothing behind them. They're
then
just
they
the
have
holes.
an additional snap-on magnetic hub for triple display port for the modern Macs. So I mean, you're talking. Look at that. You're golden here.
Yeah.
Okay, this is just out of control. All right, we are done. Rene Ritchie, youtube.com/Rene Ritchie. Anything exciting you're working on? Oh, of course there is. I know there is.
I'm working on my deep dive on the M1 Pro and the M1 Max and Apple's scalable architecture. That's going to be my next big project.
That is a project. Quite a project. All here, youtube.com/Rene Ritchie. See, you're not doing this. I like it. The reactions are toned down a little bit now. It's just your nice smile.
You know, it's funny because everyone says like I can't take these reaction things, and then I try one with like a very muted
they
reaction,
work
and
better.
nobody clicks on it. Then I switch it back, and it's like a million people click. I'm like, you people read the tabloids. You just say that you listen to NPR, but you read the tabloids.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a reason why all these videos have crazy expressions on them.
What was that thread, that Netflix thread that they went through to show how Netflix uses machine learning to pick and there's like facial expressions, like the more emotional facial expressions, one or two people.
But it's humans. You think it's humans doing this though this time, right?
Yeah, it's psychology. Actually, on Apple Talk last week, Georgia and I went through the entire thread, and she explained the psychology of why these sorts of thumbnails work. Like everything that we react to, that all these years of evolution have trained us to react to, and they're just. Like Netflix will say villains get more clicks than heroes, and big facial expressions and which colors. And if you watch, more rom-coms, they'll show you like a fuzzier thumbnail. If you watch more action, they'll show you a more violent. Like it's a science, Leo. It's not even art anymore.
Linus is really the king of this. Linus Tech Tips. He's every one of his videos. Like grimace.
He's almost as good at facial expressions as he is sponsor segues.
It's just grimacing, grimacing. Andy Anaka, when are you going to be on GBH next?
Friday, as usual, 12:30 in the afternoon. Just go to wgbhnews.org to stream it live, or come back to the website later that night to stream it later.
Nice. Anako.com. Are you working on your project? Are you getting close?
Getting close. It's the pipeline is still being filled, and as usual, I wish that I could take a pill to fix this about me. It's like, but I don't want the header to look like that. How do I fix WordPress?
God.
And I also don't want to, for some stupid reason, don't want to spend a couple $1,000s to simply have someone who knows what they're doing receive a napkin that says, here's what I want it to look like, and then they do it. People have been nice enough to volunteer it, but I feel very adamant that I should be paying people for that kind of work. It's my mental hang up that, look, just release it and then fix it later. But yeah, so I don't have a date. I'll announce a date once I feel as though I'm ready to like open the taps, but I'm pretty excited.
I think
the people who have been saying, "Oh, I miss your writing on a regular basis." Someone on Twitter said you have, as part of a complaint, which is one of the most nicely put across complaints, is that I wish that you would have said that like in your newspaper column or something like that. I've missed that too. This is all a point of, I want to create something where I don't have to ask any permission. I don't have to do anything. I can just do it just like that.
I just want to point out, Eastern Orthodox Christmas is January 7th this year. That would be a very good time to launch a website. I'm just saying.
I have actually, it'll be appropriate because I've used that excuse for sending out my Christmas cards late. It's like, happy Orthodox Christmas, because Anatko, we do in my household, we did celebrate like both Easters and both Christmas. So
you've told us.
I have my little like fingertips grasping on the edge of that cliff
and
of
Canadian
credibility.
Thanksgiving.
I think you should announce it'll be out for Christmas, and that gives you all the way till January 7th. So it's perfect. You get an extra.
I could be like Apple saying,
say which Christmas.
Q1. Q1 of 2022.
You figure it out if
Season
it's fiscal or
2022.
calendar. It's all it's all in the air there.
Yes.
Mr. Alex Lindsay, 090.media is his day job. Actually, his 24-hour job is office hours at officehours.
Other people manage that. My day job's still the ODINO, but there's lots of people there 24/7 in office hours and after hours. After hours is what runs 21 hours a day, and then office hours runs 3. We've got AJA coming in tomorrow to talk about their Bridge Live. So they're going to be in here doing a walkthrough and answering people's questions. And then we have Parsec on Friday. So they're going to talk about, how their software works, for screen mirroring. And Thursday we're talking about how our Office Hours 2.0, kind of our broadcast version of what we're doing with Office Hours is going. And then, of course, education, cooking, and concerts on Saturday. The long day. Education, cooking, and concerts.
I'm increasingly referring people, like you have a whole show on Monday, yesterday, on building kits for live streaming. People are always asking me on the radio show, for churches and so forth. I'm increasingly referring people to these.
Really great and geeky discussion about kits for live streaming. And then today we spent an hour talking about mixers, just the different analog versus digital and what you get for them and how they work. And mostly it's just Q&A. We're just answering people's questions. So if you have questions to ask there, it's a great platform to do it.
officehours.global. Thank you, everybody. We do MacBreak Weekly every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1900 UTC. If you want to watch, you can do it or listen live. You could do it at live.twit.tv. If you're doing that, you might as well chat. It's a lot of fun. irc.twit.tv. And, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention our fabulous Discord chat, which Mashed Potato says, Georgia's reaction photos are even better than yours, Rene. It's true. Georgia really gets into it. She definitely does.
Yep.
If you would like to join Club Twit, there are 3 benefits. Ad-free versions of all shows. You wouldn't even hear this promotion because you're already a member. There's the Discord channel, which is not just during the shows. It's all hours of the day or night about all geeky subjects. I mean, they talk about everything. There's sections for all sorts of stuff, and we add more all the time. And then there's the Twit Plus feed, which gives you a little bit of stuff that doesn't appear in the show because, it's before or after the show, and different specials we do. And thanks to Aunt Pruitt, who's our new community manager, there's lots more of that coming up as well. If you're interested, $7 a month, twit.tv/clubtwit, and thanks in advance. It really supports our efforts here at the Twit Network. On-demand versions of the shows are also available free at the website. Every show is available at twit.tv, in this case, twit.tv/MBW. You can also subscribe in your favorite podcast client, and that way you'll get it automatically. If you do, leave us a 5-star review. Let the world know about MacBreak Weekly. Thank you for joining us. I hear somebody's Android phone ringing, so I think it's time to say goodnight. Time to blow out the candle.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. Go get that.
Sorry about that.
It's time to say goodbye. What does this smell? This is, Smitten. I've been smitten by hot wax. We'll see you next time now. Go back to work because break time is, over. Bye-bye.
Do you have an iPhone, an Apple Watch, an iPad, or any number of Apple devices? Well, you have got to check out iOS Today with me, Micah Sargent, and Rosemary Orchard. We cover all things iOS and help you get the most out of your devices.